Chapter 4:11. He is my teacher. The difference of a subgrade in a formation could easily mean a difference in might by twofold, and the difficulty in finding its core would increase exponentially. Everyone thought that Xianxia was already formidable to stop a grade 3 primary formation with a single kick, but upon seeing this sight, they finally realized. Grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, these numbers meant nothing to him. As long as he was around, even the most formidable formations would be destroyed with a single kick. Lu Chong's mouth twitched violently, and he shook his head vigorously, as though trying to wake himself up from a dream. His father had once told him that this formation was unimaginably formidable. His ancestors had reinforced it again and again over the countless generations, and profound wisdom was harnessed within it. But from the looks of it now, wisdom my head. Before his teacher, all of this meant nothing at all. Since the formation had stopped, the crowd immediately walked toward the rock residences. It was clear that there was a long history to those few simple rock residences. Even though there were descendants who came from time to fix it, it was still severely damaged by wear and tear. Go on. Xianxia stopped before the rock residences. This was an object that Lu Chong's ancestor had left for him. Xianxia's role was only to accompany him since there was no more danger now. It didn't matter whether he tagged behind Lu Chong or not. Yes, teacher. Lu Chong nodded and walked in with reddened eyes. Back then, when his parents and kin were killed, he didn't have the time to collect their bones before escaping. Thus, he created several tablets for them yesterday to place alongside the ancestors. In a way, this was fulfilling the final regret he had regarding his clan. Things rarely go the way we want. Let's go. Understanding the other party's emotions, Xianxia sighed. Teacher. Lu Chong stepped forward and proffered a letter to Xianxia. It was a simple, ancient bamboo scroll, and its worn-out exterior betrayed its age. Even so, it seemed to be crafted using some kind of unique method, making it extremely resilient. Knowing that this was the letter which Xia's personal handwriting was on, Xianxia took it and opened it. Honestly speaking, Xianxia also felt curious toward the world's teacher, Xia. Even though he wouldn't stoop down to taking his student's possession for his own, it shouldn't be much of a problem for him to peer into the contents. Unrolling the scroll, an ancient aura immediately unfurled from within. The handwriting for the former half was simple. It wasn't particularly astounding. But, even though the latter half only consisted on several words, the imposing aura it exuded felt as though a massive mountain was weighing on one. The content was simple, and it was indeed an ordinary letter. Most probably, Lu Chong's ancestor sent the letter, and in an attempt to return the favor, Sage Minute requested for his teacher to write a few words before sending it back. Looking at the personal handwriting of Xia, Xianxia felt a grand aura gushing into his head. All of a sudden, he reached the state of heart of tranquil water, and fell into a trance. Soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy. Rumors had it that there were some formidable master teachers who were able to harness their spirit and their understanding of the universe into their calligraphy, and looking at it frequently was helpful in raising one's soul depth. This was also known as soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy. However, this kind of tempering required a harmonization in spirit. Unless one was in a teacher-student relationship or a blood-related kin of the calligrapher, the chances of this phenomenon occurring were nearly zero. Out of 10,000 people, it might not even activate once. Xianxia and Xia weren't in a teacher-student relationship, and they weren't blood-related either. Yet, for it to be activated instantly, Xianxia's luck was truly astounding. Boom! Holding the letter, Xianxia felt his will of mind stabilizing, and his soul depth slowly rose. It was as though he had fallen into some unique state, and he stood in a daze. Your Highness, it seems like they have obtained the letter. Behind a giant boulder above the coal, Liang Qingming clasped his fist and reported. After deciding to take the letter for themselves, Ding Mu, Lin Long, and the others had immediately rushed over. The one they were going to strike down was a talented 2-star master teacher, and if they were found out, they would be in danger. However, as long as they succeeded, the returns would be immense. As the student of a suspected 4-star master teacher, Xianxia would surely have many life-preserving means on him. Thus, we've got to kill him in a single shot. We mustn't give him any opportunity to strike back. Otherwise, Once he sends a rescue signal or activates one of his trump cards, it would be difficult for us to kill him anymore. Ding Mu instructed with a grim expression. But of course, our priority is to obtain that letter. Since Xianxia was willing to let Xianxia venture out alone, he must have entrusted several life-saving tools to him. Thus, they had to strike swift and deadly. Your Highness, don't worry. Liang Qingming nodded. Go. Ding Mu nodded gravely. If he chose to simply steal the letter, there was a high chance he would be exposed. By then, if Xianxia decided to stand up for his student, the entire Shenyuan kingdom might be destroyed. On the other hand, if he were to kill Zhongxian, he could create a facade of him being killed by savage beasts. By the time Xianxia truly tracked them down, he would have already found a backing in the fleeting cloud sect through the letter, and there would be nothing for him to worry about. The master-teacher pavilions might be under the same headquarters, but there was still rivalry among the various powers. Using an analogy, it was just like the feudal system. Although the governors were all under the royal court, there was still some rivalry and feuds among the various territories. Regarding the rivalry among the master-teacher pavilions, as long as they didn't commit immoral acts, the headquarters wouldn't interfere. Competition induced advancement, and only with a suitable amount of competition would humans reach greater heights. As such, the master-teacher pavilion pushed for such rivalries as well. Yes. Hearing his order, Liang Qingming drove the Xianxia in his body, and with a flick of his wrist, a sharp sword appeared in his hands. Huala! In a flash, he leaped out from the boulder, and as swift as a flash of lightning, his sword headed straight toward Zhongxian. Pushing the might of a Zhizuan realm advanced stage expert to the brim, in the blink of an eye, he covered the distance of several hundred meters between them. The formation had been stopped, and there was no other defensive mechanism in the kernel. As such, there was nothing to stop Liang Qingming's charge. Zhongxian was currently in a trance from the soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy, so he didn't notice the other party approaching. Even more so, Mo Yu, Lu Chong, and the others didn't think that someone would assault them in such a remote area. Upon seeing the brilliant gleam of the sword and hearing a sonic boom, everyone's eyes narrowed, and their faces immediately warped in shock upon seeing Liang Qingming. Teacher! Zhongxian! Young master! Loud bellows reverberated in the col, and everyone's body trembled in astonishment. Teacher, careful! At the current moment, the one standing the closest to Zhongxian was Lu Chong. Upon seeing the brilliant gleam from the sword, he could tell that the other party would surely die if the sword were to strike him, and the thought of it sent him into a panic. To avenge him, his teacher confronted the Lin clan alone without a word of complaint. To raise his cultivation, his teacher was willing to pay a huge price, yet didn't expect anything in return. Imparting battle techniques and explaining cultivation techniques. Lecturing the basic principles a human should have, and deciphering the essence of cultivation. All of these, he did on his initiative, even going far beyond what that was expected of him. Without his teacher, he would remain an average cultivator for his entire life, doomed to never be able to exact vengeance. Without his teacher, it was just a matter of time before the Lin clan found him and silenced him. It was teacher who brought him out of his sinkhole and gave him the dignity to face his dead kin. This was the man who he respected and admired. He couldn't allow anything to happen to him. If you were to cultivate on like that, you won't even reach Pishua realm in 10 years. At this rate, you will be dead before you can exact your vengeance. You don't have to bother how I know of it. Your vengeance is both a motivation as well as a hindrance to your cultivation. You are suppressing your worries too deep within, and it has suppressed your cultivation, making it difficult for you to achieve a breakthrough. I know that the reason why you refuse to speak is because you're afraid that you might accidentally speak of your enemy's name and make them aware of your existence. Don't worry, as long as you believe in me, I promise you that you will be able to exact your vengeance within 10 days. It's your choice to choose whether you want to believe me or not. However, you'll only get this one chance. Pardon me, but I happen to know the assassin you speak of. He's my student, and I am his teacher. Boom! His encounters with Zhong Laoshe flowed through his head, and his words resounded in his mind. All of a sudden, his entire body moved on its own accord. In the blink of an eye, he had already leaped several meters away, standing right before Zhongxian. Puhe! Liang Qingming's sword also happened to reach at this very instant. It stabbed into his chest, and the Xianxia of a Zhizuan realm expert gushed into the other party's body through the sword, frenziedly wrecking his physical functions. Sensing the other party's sword qi ravaging through his body, threatening to tear his entire body apart at any moment, Lu Chong bellowed furiously. His hands stretched forward and grabbed the other party's sword firmly. You! Not expecting his sure-kill technique to be blocked by this fellow, Liang Qingming's face darkened. He was just about to pull out his sword and strike Zhong Xian, but he realized that the other party was holding onto his sword firmly as though a sword stuck in a boulder. No matter how hard he tugged on it, it refused to move at all. Let go. He couldn't have imagined that a Xianxia realm fellow would have blocked his attack. Liang Qingming was furious and anxious. Roaring furiously, he drove his Xianxia into the other party's body, intending to kill him before striking down Zhong Xian. I won't allow you to hurt him because... Lu Chong felt his life force slowly dissipating under the furious surge from the other party's Xianxia, but he didn't regret his actions at all. Instead, he stared at Liang Qingming with unwavering determination. He's my teacher. Chapter 412, Avenge Him. Lu Chong. After hearing the anxious bellows, Zhong Xian stepped out of his trance from the soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy, and the first sight that appeared before him was Lu Chong's chest being pierced by a sword. Countless thoughts immediately exploded in his head, and his eyes reddened uncontrollably. Even though he met this student considerably later than his other direct disciples, the other party held the greatest trust and most earnest emotions for him. Bellowing furiously, Zhong Xian's head jolted, and a golden book suddenly appeared. All of a sudden, a might capable of causing the entire world to crumble appeared. A gale rose, and the clouds swiftly flew by. A book as heavy as a mountain abruptly fell straight on Commander Liang's head. Basha! Without the slightest obstruction, as though a watermelon crushed by a steel hammer, his head burst into blooded remnants. Under the intense shock wave from the blow, a huge hole, several hundred meters deep and wide, appeared in the Colonel Wat. Ding Mu, Lin Long, and the others, who were hiding behind the boulder, preparing to launch a second wave of assault, were dumbstruck with terror. They didn't think that the Zhizuan realm advanced stage Commander Liang could be destroyed by an object the other party thrown out casually. Their faces paled, and they nearly fainted from fear. They knew that Xianxia would surely bestow Zhong Xian with some life-saving treasure, but how could they have known that it would be such a fearsome object? Even transcendent mortal experts weren't capable of striking out a huge hole in the ground. Escape! Knowing that it was impossible to withstand such might, Ding Mu didn't dare to hesitate in the least. He immediately turned around to flee. Beast tamer Ju Jin also quickly followed suit. The two of them had reached Zhizuan realm, and their speed was astonishing. In just 2 breaths, their silhouettes turned into a white flash, and they were already 100 meters away. Your Highness, wait for me. Not expecting her husband, as well her greatest backer, to abandon her without any warning, Lin Long hurriedly chased him with a ghastly pale face. Upon seeing someone run out from the boulder, how could Zhong Xian not tell what was going on? Roaring frenziedly, he commanded the golden page rotating in the air toward Lin Long. Boom. The entire ground quaked violently. Yet again, a huge hole several meters wide appeared. Smashed by the immense might of the golden book, Lin Long was reduced to meat paste. Having fled swiftly, Ding Mu and Ju Jin managed to escape the crisis. Hurry up and get on the savage beast. Seeing the sight behind them, the duo felt even more frightened. At this moment, Ding Mu couldn't care less about anything else. Leaping onto the back of the gold-scaled lightning beast, he immediately commanded it to fly as far away as it could. Zhong Xian's mystic tool was simply too powerful. The might of his tool could even smash a transcendent mortal expert easily, needless to say them. If they couldn't escape, the only thing that awaits them would be death. Howling furiously, Zhong Xian was just about to send the golden page straight toward the duo and the savage beast when whang, the book disappeared. In the next moment, an indescribable fatigue overwhelmed him, leaving him groggy-headed, ready to faint at any moment. Lu Chong. Knowing that it was impossible for him to catch up to a Xizuan realm intermediate stage savage beast, Xianxia withstood his dizziness to examine the condition of his student. The other party's eyes were tightly shut, and he had already lost consciousness. However, as though delighted to see that his teacher was safe, even though he couldn't open his eyes, a faint smile hung on his lips. He was still tightly holding on to the sword on his chest, unwilling to let go even upon death. As though he was declaring that even upon death, as long as teacher was fine, everything was all right. Heaven's path Xianxia can cure all wounds, you'll be fine. Tears that felt like burning oil flowed down Xianxia's cheeks. Grasping the other party's palm, Xianxia furiously infused the Heaven's path Xianxia within him into the other party's body. Teacher, how did you know that my purpose is to exact vengeance? Liu Laoshi, please guide me. You can't hurt him, because he's my teacher. Recalling the bits and pieces of the youngster before him, Xianxia trembled in agitation. After 2 years of silence, Lu Chong had become a reticent person. During their time together, he didn't speak much. Most of the time, what Xianxia saw was his determined gaze and reliable back. In order to exact his vengeance, Lu Chong knelt in front of the academy for 7 days straight and remained silent for 2 years. Despite the unimaginable pain from the poison tempering, Lu Chong persisted on with it. Even though he knew that the Lin clan was powerful, he still charged straight at them. This reticent but determined youngster felt cold, but his heart was filled with warmth. To protect the teacher that he respected and admired from the bottom of his heart, he was willing to give in his own life. Lu Chong, my student, I have failed to protect you. Wake up, give me a chance to make it up to you. Xianxia infused the Heaven's path Xianxia furiously into the other party, but Lu Chong's slim figure didn't budge at all. Seeing the frenzied look on the young man before her, Mo Yu's face paled. Everything happened too quickly. By the time Mo Yu saw Liang Qingming, it was already too late. She thought that Xianxia would meet his demise. Yet, she couldn't have imagined that a student would give up his life just to save him. Mo Yu clenched her fists tightly and walked forward. Xianxia. She bellowed, but there was no response. Xianxia. She shouted once more, and only then did the most radiant genius of Qianwu Royal City raise his head blankly, as though he had lost his soul. Don't panic. You possess unparalleled medical skills. Lu Chong will be fine. Feeling a deep piercing pain in her heart upon seeing the state of the man before her, Mo Yu consoled. Right, my medical skills. Upon the other party's reminder, Xianxia finally recovered. Focus returned to his blank and soulless eyes. That's right. On top of his medical skills, he had the library of Heaven's Path. There was nothing that could hide from the heavens. As long as Lu Chong wasn't reduced to ashes, there would surely be a solution for his situation. A flicker of hope appeared in Xianxia's eyes. Flaws. Xianxia thought, and a book appeared in his head. He hurriedly flipped through it. There's still hope for him. Upon seeing the contents on it, Xianxia's body trembled. In an instant, his entire face turned red. He thought that being stabbed by the sword of a Xizuan realm expert, Lu Chong's death was inevitable. Yet, there was still a breath left in him. All kinds of flaws were written on the book. Lu Chong's meridians had been crushed by the other party's Xizuan realm Xianxia, and his internal organs had also suffered heavy damage. Under such conditions, anyone else would have been dead. However, having cultivated the Heaven's Path golden body and poison body, Lu Chong's body was several times stronger than that of an ordinary cultivator. On top of that, Xianxia had infused his Heaven's Path Xianxia into the other party timely, thus preserving a final breath within him. I should heal his meridians and internal organs first. Having assimilated all the knowledge within the books in the Physician Guild, even without the library of Heaven's Path, Xianxia's medical skill wasn't inferior to that of a 3-star physician. He knew that the priority at hand was to heal the other party's injuries first. Thus, he immediately directed his Heaven's Path Xianxia to flow throughout the other party's body, healing his damaged meridians and organs. At the same time, he fed the other party a recovery pill. Having ransacked the Lin clan, he had many of such recovery pills within his storage ring. If it was effective, he was willing to feed all of them to him. Xianxia. Seeing spirit returning to the young man, and that he was starting to treat Lu Chong, Mo Yu heaved a sigh of relief. Then, lowering her head to take a look, her eyes narrowed. Under the application of Zhongxian's Xianxia, Lu Chong's wounds recovered at a visible pace. His pale face, due to excessive loss of blood, also slowly regained its redness. Even though he was still unconscious, his wounds seemed to have already fully recovered on the surface. Healing a person's body thoroughly with just Xianxia. Mo Yu's body trembled in disbelief. Even though she had seen Zhongxian's medical skills before, he had often made use of silver needles to stimulate one's acupoints before issuing prescriptions to follow up. To be able to heal one's injuries and repair one's meridians like that. How pure must his Xianxia be? Could he possess superior Xianxia? The thought flashed across Mo Yu's eyes. It was said that due to the absurd purity of superior Xianxia, it could be used in treatment or clearing away blockages in a person's meridians. All along, Mo Yu thought that it was only a legend. To think that there would come a day which she would see such a sight with her own eyes. To possess cultivation technique capable of cultivating Xianxia of such caliber, how powerful must Xianxia be? It was no wonder why Su Shur and Ling Shi would obey his commands willingly. Who? After repairing the final injury on Lu Chong's meridians, Zhongxian heaved a sigh of relief. Zhongxian refreshed the book on Lu Chong, and with a single look, his face steeled. "Teacher, how is Lu Chong?" Zhao Yue asked worriedly. "There isn't any problem with his physical condition, but his consciousness has sunk into a deep sleep. It's hard to tell when he'll be able to wake up." The damage Lu Chong had suffered previously was too tremendous. Even if the unparalleled Heaven's Path Xianxia could heal all of his injuries, it was completely helpless as to his mental condition. Under the current situation, it was possible that Lu Chong might awake anytime, perhaps even at the next instant, but it was also possible that he might never wake up. "What should we do?" Zhao Yue asked. "I don't know either." Zhongxian shook his head in desolation. Even though he had taken in all of the knowledge within the books of the Physician Guild for his own, he still wasn't able to find a solution to this situation. Blocked meridians, afflictions, inability to break through one's cultivation bottleneck. The Heaven's Path Xianxia could cure all of those. However, consciousness was a matter of one's soul. It was something incredibly unfathomable and hard to grasp. No matter how formidable Heaven's Path Xianxia was, how could something physical affect the ethereal? We might not have any solutions, but Xianxia might have an idea. Seeing the awful look on the young man's face, Mo Yu consoled. "Xianxia." Zhongxian's complexion turned even more awful. "I've heard that upon reaching 7-star, master teachers would be capable of using one's words to influence one's actions, consciousness, and soul. Lu Chong has only fallen into a deep sleep. If a master teacher of such a level were to delve into his mind and wake him up, Lu Chong might regain consciousness." Mo Yu continued. "Influence one's consciousness and soul." Zhongxian clenched his fists tightly together. It was just like what the other party had said. Lu Chong's consciousness was just asleep. If someone could delve into his mind and wake him up, it was possible that Lu Chong might regain consciousness. UN. Even though I've only heard it from others, it's true that high-ranked master teachers possess unfathomable means beyond us. We might be unable to find a solution now, but it doesn't mean that there isn't one. Mo Yu replied. "You're right." Zhongxian nodded. It was just like his innate fetal poison. Even though he didn't find a solution for it in Qianxian Kingdom or the Poison Hall, there was definitely one out there in the vast world, in one of the innumerable master-teacher pavilion. Even though it was like searching for a needle in a haystack, at least it gave him a direction. He was helpless toward Lu Chong's current situation, but as he grew stronger and read more books, he might be able to find a solution to his problem. I'll eventually find a solution to cure him, but before that. After hearing Mo Yu's words of consolation, Zhongxian felt at ease. But soon, he narrowed his eyes, and killing intent burst from his body, drowning the entire sky in it as though a torrent. "I will avenge him." Chapter 413, Shenyuan Kingdom's Strength as a Person Born in the Information Age. Zhongxian was brought up to settle conflicts peacefully. Despite having transcended into this world, a part of him was still resistant to claiming the lives of others. However, who knew that a moment of benevolence would ultimately lead to Lu Chong's state? If only he had known, he would have gotten Little Su to get rid of this Lin Long and Commander Liang, and today's matter wouldn't have occurred. Avenge. Mo Yu frowned. Lu Chong has to be avenged, but, do you know anything about Shenyuan Kingdom? Zhong Xian shook his head. As a lower-ranked kingdom, Qianwu Kingdom didn't have much information on Shenyuan Kingdom. As such, Zhong Xian's understanding of Shenyuan Kingdom was also severely limited. He knew some brief details, but when it came to the more confidential matters, it blurred out. Thus, even after reading through all of the books in the book collection vault, his understanding toward this conferred kingdom was still vague. At the very least, in terms of national strength and influence, he knew very little about Shenyuan Kingdom. Despite not knowing anything, you wish to avenge him. Mo Yu rolled her eyes. You sure are courageous. The person you are facing is the Crown Prince of Shenyuan Kingdom. To make things worse, the current emperor is ill, making the Crown Prince a person who can ascend to the throne at any moment. As such, he already possesses the authority over the troops in the country, and he can deploy all of them against you. Putting aside how many troops there are in a conferred kingdom, just the number of experts in their midst makes it an existence impossible for you to succeed by charging in alone. Unless you possess the cultivation equivalent to Su Shi. But even with this kind of strength, you will surely meet with all kinds of obstructions when trying to kill a crown prince of a country. To earn considerable prestige and standing in Shenyuan Kingdom, one must at least reach Zhizuan Realm intermediate stage. Even though you are able to match up to even half Zhizuan cultivators at the moment, you are still lacking as compared to real Zhizuan Realm experts. After a moment of hesitation, Mo Yu explained with a slightly lighter tone. The young man before her had just lost his student. She was afraid of agitating him into doing something atrocious. It's not just lacking, it's being completely helpless against Zhizuan Realm expert. Zhong Xian fell into contemplation. Zhizuan Realm was the highest level a fighter could reach. At the intermediate stage, one would possess 20,000 ding of strength. At the advanced stage, 30,000 ding, and at the pinnacle, 40,000 ding. Taking into consideration Zhong Xian's physical strength and Junqi strength, his total strength only added up to around 15,000 ding. He was still a long way from comparing up to the more powerful Zhizuan Realm cultivators. On top of that, he was only using strength as a comparison. After reaching Zhizuan Realm, one's reaction speed and comprehension toward battle techniques would rise significantly. That was also the main reason why no Xianxia could match up to a Zhizuan. It's good that you know. My suggestion is that, since the Master Teacher Tournament is going to be held in 3 months' time, it's best for you not to get involved in such trouble at the moment. As long as you join the tournament and get a good placing, with your newfound standing, you'll be able to request the Master Teacher Pavilion to avenge Lu Chong. At the same moment, no one would be able to say anything about it. This is the most convenient and easiest way at the moment. Mo Yu shared her thoughts. Zhong Xian's cultivation was currently lacking. If he were to forcefully try to exact vengeance, he would be putting himself in huge danger. Since that was the case, he might as well go for the Master Teacher Tournament first. By then, with his prestigious standing gained from the tournament, no one would dare to stop him from avenging Lu Chong. Master Teachers possessed high standing, but that was relative. 2-star Master Teachers were a formidable existence in Qianwu Kingdom, but when it came to Shenyuan Kingdom and the Myriad Kingdom Alliance, they didn't mean much at all. Only when one proved their strength or unlimited potential would one be highly regarded and feared. Otherwise, no amount of words would carry weight. I can't wait for 3 months, and I believe that Lu Chong doesn't want me to wait either. Glancing at his unconscious student, a sharp glint flashed across Zhong Xian's eyes. 3 months was too long. Zhong Xian's wouldn't be able to hold back his rage for that long. The other party had reduced Lu Chong into such a tragic state, and he still had to leave him carefree for 3 months? You must be joking. But your current strength isn't even at half Zhizuan Realm yet. How do you intend to exact vengeance? You would require the strength of a Zhizuan Realm pinnacle at minimum to do so. Otherwise, you'll just be killed. Seeing the determination in Zhong Xian's eyes, Mo Yu panicked. What was wrong with this fellow? I have already told you that even Xizuan realm experts dare not do anything in Shenyuan Kingdom. So what in the world does a person like you, who hasn't even reached half Xizuan yet, hope to achieve there? Aren't you just courting death? One must know that there was a huge bunch of Xizuan realm pinnacle experts within a conferred kingdom. If one wanted to go against the royal family, one had to be at least a half Transcension. Xizuan realm pinnacle? Simple. Zhongxian said. Simple? Could it be that you have an idea in mind? Seeing Zhongxian's confident declaration, Mo Yu's eyes lit up. Seems like he has his own plans. I'm probably overthinking it. After all, how can a genius act so rashly? Just as Mo Yu heaved a long sigh of relief and prepared to ask Zhongxian about his plans, the young man before him declared gravely, I'll just have to reach Xizuan realm pinnacle in the next few days then. Pu. Mo Yu's body swayed, and she nearly choked on her saliva. The heck? Can you say anything more ridiculous than that? Xizuan realm is the last trial a fighter has to undergo, and the difficulty in progressing in that realm is multiple folds higher than that of Xianxia realm. Do you think that it's like cabbages in the market, easily obtainable? Reach Xizuan realm in the next few days. Can't you speak normally? If those who are stuck in Xianxia realm pinnacle heard your words, they would definitely pummel you to death. And to think that I thought you had a good idea in mind, to think this would be it. Jiao Wei, hurry up and persuade your teacher. Unable to stand it any longer, Mo Yu turned to the lady beside her. Persuade? Teacher is right, why should I persuade him? Jiao Wei asked doubtfully, as she stared at Mo Yu. Mo Yu flew into a frenzy. That's Xizuan realm, Xizuan. It's not that easy to achieve a breakthrough as you all think. Even if your teacher were to dedicate the entire 3 months to his cultivation, it would be impossible for him to reach Xizuan realm. Teacher only used a month to advance from Pishua realm to Xianxia realm pinnacle. In fact, when he just arrived at Qianwu royal city, he was only at Tongxian realm pinnacle. However, he's already at Xianxia realm pinnacle now, and it has only been 10 days since then. Don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. Jiao Wei consoled. They'd seen all kinds of miracles occurring due to their teacher, and this had left them with deep trust in him. Putting aside reaching Xizuan realm pinnacle, even if Zhongxian claimed that he would reach transcendent mortal realm tomorrow, they would surely believe it. How big a matter is it must you react so vehemently? Oh. Mo Yu. What the heck was with all of them? Not only were they not shocked by Zhongxian's declaration to reach Xizuan realm pinnacle in just a few days, they even felt that it was natural. Mo Yu hurriedly turned her gaze to Zheng Yang, Wang Ying, and the others. However, all she saw was their looks of disdain, as though mocking her for her horizons being too narrow. Unable to hold back the agitation in her heart, Mo Yu spurted blood. To think that I, the princess of Qianwu Kingdom and a 1-star master teacher, would be looked down on by a bunch of students. What in the world is this? But thinking about it, their words did make sense. The fellow before her couldn't be understood through common sense. When he took the master teacher examination, he had barely reached Xianxia realm. Yet, when he faced the Lin clan, he was already at Xianxia realm pinnacle. There was only an interval of 6 to 7 days between the two events. If he could advance into Xianxia realm that swiftly, then perhaps he might be able to do the same for Xizuan realm as well. Even if you reach Xizuan realm pinnacle, Ding Mu is still the crown prince of Shenyuan Kingdom. If you were to kill him, it might cause instability within the country. I'm afraid that the Master Teacher Pavilion will hinder you. Mo Yu said, while forcefully suppressing her bursting frustration from being looked down on. Hinder? Isn't the Master Teacher Pavilion supposed to protect Master Teachers? Baffled, Zhongxian frowned. The Master Teacher Pavilion was an organization created by Master Teachers for Master Teachers. Given that the other party had attempted to assassinate a Master Teacher, even if the Master Teacher Pavilion chose not to crack down on the culprit, how could it defend the culprit? The Master Teacher Pavilion does protect the welfare of Master Teachers, but, if a conferred kingdom is involved, the matter becomes uncertain. After all, if a crown prince of a kingdom of such level were to be killed, it would definitely cause a tremendous chaos in the country. Perhaps, it might even result in war, the death of innocent civilians, and displacement of population. In order to prevent this kind of situation, it is highly likely that the master-teacher pavilion might choose the other party over you. After all, you are only a 2-star primary master-teacher, so you don't wield sufficient weight yet. Mo Yu continued, besides, the Shenyuan Kingdom master-teacher pavilion is close with the royal family. As an outsider, it's likely that you'll be shunned instead. Zhong Xian fell into deep contemplation. Even though Mo Yu's words were frustrating, he had to admit that they made sense. The purpose of the presence of master-teacher pavilions was to maintain peace in the region. Given that Zhong Xian was going to kill Shenyuan Kingdom's crown prince, it would be hard for the master-teacher pavilion to simply watch by the side. Besides, no matter how impartial the master-teacher pavilion was, the Shenyuan royal family had been in power for innumerable years. Along with the passing of time, they had established close ties with one another. With the identity of an outsider 2-star master-teacher, it was indeed difficult for him to get them to his side. Rules are impartial, but humans have feelings. That's indeed a problem. Upon thinking of all of these, Zhong Xian nodded. Then, turning to Mo Yu, he asked, "Isn't there any solution for this matter?" "There is, just that, it's too difficult." Mo Yu shook her head. "Oh. If you want to stop the Shenyuan Kingdom master-teacher pavilion from hindering you, or even support you, you have to impress them with your capability." Mo Yu said. "Impress them with my capability? You mean pavilion crashing?" Zhong Xian was taken aback. If one wanted the master-teacher pavilion to submit to one swiftly, there was only a single method. That was pavilion crashing. It was similar to dojo crashing. With the strength of an individual, one would face the entire master-teacher pavilion. Once one succeeded, regardless of how strong one was or what requests one had, the master-teacher pavilion was to obey without any conditions. This matter was written within the books of the master-teacher pavilion, and upon Mo Yu's reminder, he recalled it. "That's right, I'm referring to pavilion crashing." However, the master of Shenyuan Kingdom's master-teacher pavilion is a 3-star master-teacher, and his strength has reached half transcension. Without the strength and capability of a 4-star master-teacher, it'll be impossible for you to succeed in the pavilion crashing. Mo Yu explained patiently. The master and elders of Shenyuan Kingdom's master-teacher pavilion had all reached 3-star, and they possessed fearsome cultivation to match it. Pavilion crashing consisted of tests of all fields. It was similar to pill debate. Without sufficient strength and knowledge, it was impossible for one to succeed. If they know what's better for them, they'll choose not to interfere in this matter. But if they insist on protecting that crown prince. Zhong Xian's eyes narrowed, and he clenched his fists tightly. "Then, I don't mind crashing it." Chapter 4:14. Xuanyuan's beast Hor Lu Chong could even disregard his own life for him. As his teacher, what could he not give up for the other party? So what if he had to face a conferred kingdom? So what if he had to face off against a master-teacher pavilion? "Lu Chong, don't worry. Regardless of who the other party is, to dare to reduce you to such a state, as your teacher, I will make him regret his actions." "Fine." Knowing that it was impossible to persuade the fellow before her, Mo Yu shook her head helplessly, and decided not to harp on this issue. "So, what do you intend to do now?" "I'll head to Shenyuan Kingdom," Zhong Xian replied. At the same time, he whistled, and the air current above suddenly grew chaotic. The steel fang howling firmament beast whizzed over from the distant sky and landed right before him. Only in Shenyuan Kingdom would he be able to find sufficient Zhizuan realm cultivation technique manuals for him to grow stronger swiftly. If he were to remain in Qianwu Kingdom, his strength would just stagnate. Just like Mo Yu said, without sufficient strength, it was impossible for him to accomplish anything at all. He might even lose his life due to it. Shenyuan Kingdom's capital, Shenyuan Royal City, is a few 100,000 kilometers away from here. Given the steel fang howling firmament beast's half Zhizuan realm strength, even if it were to fly with all of its strength, it would take at least 7 to 8 days. Mo Yu replied. As a conferred kingdom, Shenyuan Kingdom's territory was significantly larger than Qianwu Kingdom. Taking 7 to 8 days to travel to its capital from here could already be considered fast. 7 to 8 days. Xianxia was taken aback. That was already around the duration he had stayed in Qianwu Royal City. Mo Yu nodded. Indeed. This is already the limit of a half-Jizuan realm savage beast. Well, if it reaches Jizuan realm, it would only take 3 days. Otherwise, we can only go over like that. Half-Jizuan realm and Jizuan realm was only a small leap in one's cultivation stage, but for an aerial savage beast, it meant more than a 2-fold increase in its flying speed. Jizuan realm aerial savage beasts can travel that quickly? Then, I'll raise its cultivation realm then. Xianxia nodded. Raise its cultivation realm. Mo Yu flashed a bitter smile. She'd almost forgotten it. On top of being a genius master teacher, the fellow before her was a formidable beast tamer as well. Even until now, she had been unable to make sense of the beast pummeling taming method that the other party created. She couldn't understand how it could make savage beasts obedient to one, and why it would induce a breakthrough in them. Lifting her head to take a look, she saw that the young man before her had already gotten into action. He walked over to the steel fang howling firmament beast and smashed his fist onto it.
Bing, 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 bing.
If it was any other beast tamer, it would be impossible for them to punch their tamed beasts so fearlessly. Even if a contract had been established between them, such an action could easily incur the other party's resentment, and this may turn out to be a potential threat in the future. Yet, when Xianxia's fist landed on the savage beast, the huge fellow howled in delight. A euphoric expression slowly surfaced on its face as it lay motionless on the ground. To react in such a way while being pummeled, that savage beast was truly one of a kind. Boom! After a moment of pummeling, the steel fang howling firmament beast released a piercing howl, and it broke through its bottleneck. In an instant, its aura surged and pierced through the clouds. Jizuan realm. Upon reaching a whole new realm, the howling firmament beast's physique grew larger, and its movements became sharper. The group climbed onto the back of the savage beast, and after ascertaining the direction, it started flying toward the horizon. Sitting cross-legged in the room on the back of the steel fang howling firmament beast, Xianxia recalled the events from earlier. Due to the dire circumstances then, all that was on his mind then was to kill Liang Qingming. And somehow, the golden book suddenly appeared and crushed him to death. Could it be that the Book of Heaven's Path also possessed the ability to smash someone to death? When he first obtained the Library of Heaven's Path, he thought that while others were throwing out all kinds of mystic treasures, he would end up hurling books at others. To think that it was true. Recalling the might of the book, Xianxia was awed. For a Jizuan realm advanced stage expert to be smashed into a lump of meat in an instant, the might of the attack was already beyond that of ordinary transcendent mortal realm experts. In other words, even Xianxia would have been unable to withstand that attack. Fearsome. But, it's a one-time consumable. Xianxia shook his head helplessly. The move was indeed strong, but it depleted the golden pages within the Book of Heaven's Path, and with that, he had no golden pages left. It seemed like he would have to bring in more students, win their gratitude, and produce a few more golden pages for his own security. To be able to assimilate the content of the books in the Library of Heaven's Path into his own knowledge, raise his soul depth by 5.0 instantaneously, destroy an enemy far beyond one's cultivation realm. Xianxia had only discovered 3 uses of the golden page, but every single one of them was fearsome in their own right. If he could gather sufficient golden pages, he wouldn't have to fear anyone anymore. He could just toss a book at anyone who dares to provoke him. Judging from how long the golden book was materialized, there seems to be a time limit of 10 seconds. He tried to recall the details of the previous battle. Seeing Lu Chong being impaled right before him had clouded Xianxia's mind, so he didn't think much into the details then. However, now that he had calmed down, he was able to deduce some matters by analyzing the situation. This Book of Heaven's Path could be summoned at Xianxia's will to smash his enemies. However, after leaving the Library of Heaven's Path, it could only sustain itself for around 10 breaths or so before disappearing. If not for this time limit, Ding Mu wouldn't have been able to escape. This book could even smash transcendent mortal experts to death, needless to say, those 2 fellows. After going through soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy, my soul depth has increased considerably. Looking at Kongsha's personal handwriting had sent him into a unique state that nourished his mind. If not for the lapse in his awareness due to that, with the Heaven's Path movement art, it would be difficult for even a Zhizuan realm expert to kill him. My soul depth has reached 12.1. That's sufficient for me to take the 4-star Master Teacher examination. Even though the soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy only managed to work for a short period of time, given that it was induced by Xianxia's handwriting, it still granted him a huge growth in his soul depth, raising it by 1.0. Given that the examination requirement on one's soul depth increased by 3.0 for each tier, Xianxia's soul depth was already sufficient for him to take the 4-star Master Teacher examination. With the rise in my soul depth, my eye of insight has also grown significantly stronger. In the past, I could only peer into the essence of cultivators possessing the same level or weaker cultivation than me, but now, I can easily see the flaws and problems of even a half Zhizuan. As Xianxia's soul depth reached 12.1, the level of a 4-star Master Teacher, his eye of insight also enjoyed a qualitative improvement. Given his cultivation realm of Xianxia realm pinnacle, it was impossible for him to peer into the flaws of a half Zhizuan in the past. But now, even if an expert of that level were to appear before him, Xianxia would still be able to see through his flaws easily even without the Library of Heaven's Path. The Library of Heaven's Path was formidable, but it had many flaws. For example, it required one to execute his battle technique or be unconscious before a book on one would be compiled. On the other hand, just by expending some of one's soul depth, the eye of insight allowed one to peer into another's flaws. In a sense, it was much more practical and applicable than the Library of Heaven's Path. Not only so, the efficacy of my impartation of Heaven's will has also improved significantly. Currently, Xianxia had comprehended a total of 2 unique abilities of Master Teachers: the Eye of Insight and Impartation of Heaven's Will. Through the impartation of Heaven's Will, by expending his soul depth, Xianxia could easily induce trust in another. On top of that, he could also drive another person's cultivation through his words. In the past, the impartation of Heaven's Will only influenced cultivators who were much weaker than him. But now, he would be able to influence those of the same cultivation realm as him, Xianxia realm pinnacle, through words alone. All in all, the benefits that he derived from the soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy were substantial. However, they were mainly limited to the Master Teacher abilities. It didn't contribute to his cultivation or any other aspects. All of you, show me your battle techniques. After sorting out his current state, Xianxia turned to look at Xianxia and the others. It had been a while since he had last given them guidance. Even though they had improved swiftly, it was clear that they were unable to keep up with Xianxia's footsteps. Thus, it was imperative for Xianxia to pull up their cultivation so that they could at least fend for themselves. Yes. On the broad back of the savage beast, the group demonstrated their battle techniques, and Xianxia offered them pointers one by one. 3 days passed in a flash. After Xianxia's guidance, the group's cultivation rose significantly. Wang Ying, Xingyang, and the others reached Pishua realm, and even Yuan Dao, whose cultivation was often lagging behind the others, had managed to open one acupoint. By unleashing the potential of her unique constitution, Xiaoye even managed to reach Xianxia realm advanced stage. With the pure yin body and Heaven's Path sword art, she would be a match for even typical Xianxia realm pinnacle experts. Xianxia also offered Mo Yu some guidance, and the latter improved significantly as well. Why aren't we heading to Shenyuan Royal City? After consecutive days of flight, just when the capital was in sight, Xianxia suddenly commanded the howling firmament beast to steer toward another direction, heading toward the mountain range not too far away. I need a place to raise my strength, replied Xianxia calmly, looking out of the window. Raise your strength. Mo Yu blinked in confusion. Seeing how adamant Xianxia was at avenging Lu Chong, Mo Yu thought that he would cultivate hard in these 3 days so that he could at least reach half Zhizuan. Yet, other than offering them guidance and taking care of Lu Chong, he didn't even bother cultivating at all. And only when he was close to reaching the capital did he suddenly speak of raising his strength. Did this fellow require some unique location for his cultivation? The Beast Hall. Xianxia explained. After reading through all of the books in Qianwu Kingdom, even though Xianxia had yet to get a good grasp of the various powers located within Shenyuan Kingdom, at the very least, he managed to find information on the locations of the occupation guilds. Similar to that of the Shenluo Mountain Range Beast Hall, Shenyuan Kingdom's Beast Hall wasn't in the city either. It was located in the depths of the mountain range several dozen kilometers away from the capital. Beast Hall? You're going there to raise your cultivation. Hearing the location, Mo Yu was even more perplexed. She had heard of savage beasts visiting the Beast Hall to raise their strength, but she didn't know that it applied for humans as well. Could it be that his cultivation technique required the presence of savage beasts? Just as Xianxia was heading for the Beast Hall in the small town located in the vast area controlled by the Xianyuan Kingdom Beast Hall, 3 figures leaped off the back of an aerial savage beast. Of them, 2 were Zhongxian's acquaintances Shenluo Mountain Range Beast Hall's Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang. The man in his late 20s accompanied them. That man's chest was puffed out, and he had an arrogant look on his face. Beast Tamer Luo, this is the Xianyuan Kingdom Beast Hall, where the beast taming competition will be held. Hall Master Feng said. I know. Don't worry, a championship, is it? I'll definitely take first place for you all. Beast Tamer Luo waved his hands casually, as though speaking of an insignificant issue. Ah! Hearing the arrogant words of the other party, Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang exchanged glances, and a bitter smile flashed across their faces. This Beast Tamer Luo was one of the more talented beast tamers in Shenluo Mountain Range Beast Hall, but he was, by no means, the most talented one. If not for the competition being brought forward by 4 months, and the fact that they were unable to find the candidate they had chosen, Zhongxian, they would have never brought this fellow over. Since the Steel Fang Howling Firmament Beast had been taken by that fellow, the group could only travel here on a Xianxia Realm Savage Beast. Due to its limited speed, it took them more than a month to arrive here, and all of them were wearied by the long journey. More than a month ago, Zhongxian had still been looking for the Poison Hall. Since he wasn't even at Qianwu Royal City yet, they were unable to find him. Why? You don't trust my capability? HMPH, why do you keep mentioning that Zhongxian? He's a 2-star beast tamer, but so am I. He passed the examination on his first try, but so did I. In fact, I even did better than him. How can you be so confident in him and yet doubt me? Seeing the expressions of the duo, Beast Tamer Luo flung his hands in displeasure. Chapter 4:15. 10 Beasts Cage. What do you mean? That Zhongxian you speak of might be a genius, but aren't I one as well? Why do you hold so high expectations of him yet think so lowly of me? We are both 2-star beast tamers. I am not inferior to him in any way. That's not what we mean, it's just that. Hall Master Feng smiled awkwardly. The beast taming competition gathers all of the geniuses in the vicinity of Shenyuan Kingdom, so we mustn't let our guards down. We have to proceed carefully. Proceed carefully? What is there to be careful about? I've studied the previous competition, and all I've to do is to tame a Zhizuan Realm Primary Stage Savage Beast. Even though my current cultivation realm hasn't reached Zhizuan Realm, I am still confident of doing so. Clenching his fists tightly, the young man drove his cultivation. Xianxia Realm Pinnacle. To reach Xianxia Realm Pinnacle under 30 even in Qianwu Kingdom, he could be considered as a genius. It was no wonder he was so confident. The test for the competition changes each time, so I'm not too sure about what will be tested this time round. However, I've heard that the Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall has captured a powerful savage beast a while ago, and they've tried taming it multiple times, only to end in failure. In order to resolve the matter quickly so as to prevent any unnecessary trouble, they decided to bring forward the competition so as to gather the geniuses from all regions here. After a moment's hesitation, Hall Master Feng decided to reveal the news that he had heard. In my view, I think it is very probable for the test to be related to that powerful savage beast they caught. I share your sentiments as well. The beast taming competition is held once every 5 years, and the timing has always been fixed. There's no reason for them to suddenly push it forward just to conduct it earlier. Beast Tamer Wang nodded in agreement. A friend of theirs from Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall had secretly delivered this news to them. However, whether it was true or not still had to be seen. However, based on their analysis, the intelligence was likely to be true. Otherwise, there was no reason for them to push forward the competition all of the sudden, catching all of the candidates off guard. The Beast Hall has captured a powerful savage beast? What cultivation realm is it? Beast Tamer Luo was surprised. I'm not too sure about the details either. Hall Master Feng shook his head. He might be the head of the Xianluo Mountain Range Beast Hall, but he still wasn't qualified to learn of the confidential secrets in the Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall. Since even 3-star beast tamers are unable to tame it, who of the younger generation could possibly succeed? Even if it's related to that, it'll probably be researching the savage beast's habits, likes, dislikes, and such to help with the taming process. Beast Tamer Luo lifted his head proudly and boasted, "On those aspects, I won't lose out to anyone. Only those beneath 30 are eligible to participate in the beast taming competition hosted by the Beast Hall." Beast Tamer Luo didn't dare to say much about the experienced beast tamers, but under the age limit, he was confident that there were very few people who could triumph over him in the field of beast taming in the vicinity of Shenyuan Kingdom. "I am aware of your capability, but I've heard that numerous talented beast tamers have emerged this year, and all of them are formidable as well. Wei Yudao from Jibei Kingdom, Jiang Nanping from Kaishiong Kingdom, Ji Wuxin from Hongchuan Manor. They are all powerful adversaries who have reached 2-star pinnacle below 30. Seeing Beast Tamer Luo's confident face, Hall Master Feng glanced at Beast Tamer Wang before speaking. The young man before him was a talented beast tamer, and if not for Zhongxian, he would be the #1 beast tamer among the younger generation in Xianluo Mountain Range. However, he had a clear, fatal flaw: arrogance. If it wasn't for them being unable to get into contact with Zhongxian, honestly speaking, they wouldn't have approached him for this competition. As a beast tamer, it was good to be confident but disastrous to be arrogant. Arrogance could potentially earn one the ire of the savage beast one was trying to tame. Having headed the Beast Hall for so many years, Hall Master Feng had seen many formidable beast tamers being torn apart by savage beasts due to this. They're indeed not bad. I've crossed hands with them, and back then, I was indeed not a match for them. However, I've learned a new beast taming technique since then, so it won't be easy for them to triumph over me," Beast Tamer Luo said, placing his hands behind his back. However, halfway through his words, a cold harumph sounded behind him. "Such arrogant words. I was wondering who it was, so it's a braggart." A young man walked over and scoffed. "Fang Jin? Why, you wish to compete with me?" Recognizing the other party, Beast Tamer Luo frowned. "Compete? Luo Tang, do you think you are worthy of competing with me?" Chuckling softly, Fang Jin drove his cultivation, and his powerful aura gushed into the surroundings. Half Zhizuan." Beast Tamer Luo widened his eyes in shock as he subconsciously retreated 2 steps. He thought that it was already a formidable feat for him to reach Xianxia realm pinnacle. To think that Fang Jin had already reached half Zhizuan. The stronger a beast tamer was, the easier it was for them to win the respect of a savage beast and tame it. 2 years ago, we were all Xianxia realm pinnacle cultivators. Given your beast taming capability, you could be considered as one of the top of the younger generation. However, Wei Yudao, Jiang Nanping, and the rest of us have already achieved a breakthrough since then. If this is all you have, I advise you to leave quietly now so that you don't make a mockery of yourself." Fang Jin looked at Beast Tamer Luo indifferently. "You?" Beast Tamer Luo's face turned pale. "You mean that Wei Yudao and the others have also achieved a breakthrough in their cultivation as well?" There was a world of a difference between Xianxia realm pinnacle and half Zhizuan. There were many who were stuck at Xianxia realm pinnacle for their entire life, unable to take the next step forward. How did all of them manage to achieve a breakthrough in the past 2 years? Not only so, Wei Yudao has even reached Zhizuan realm primary stage. Fang Jin replied. "Zhizuan realm primary stage." Beast Tamer Luo clenched his fists tightly. "So what if you are stronger? What we are competing on is our beast taming skill and understanding of savage beasts. Even if you're stronger, it doesn't mean that you can just beat a savage beast into submission." Dong! Just as Beast Tamer Luo was refuting the other party's words, the ground suddenly quaked. A thunder-like chiming of a bell suddenly boomed. A bell? Crap, something huge is happening. Hall Master Feng's face suddenly warped. Luo Tang and Fang Jin, who were in the midst of an argument, suddenly stopped their actions, and their eyes narrowed. There were many savage beasts reared in the Beast Hall, and in order to avoid alarming them, quietness had always been upheld here. Unless something huge happened, the bell would never be chimed. Its chiming meant that all beast tamers had to gather immediately to face whatever that was threatening the beast hall. What could have happened for this bell to chime all of a sudden? Dong dong dong. The bell continued chiming. Quick, count the number of chimes. Hall Master Feng urged. The number of chimes represented the message the beast hall was trying to relay to the beast tamers. Soon, when the chiming stopped, Luo Tang announced, there was a total of 7 chimes. Fang Jin also quickly turned his gaze to Hall Master Feng. Even though they were beast tamers as well, such incidents were rare, and their knowledge of these old traditions couldn't match up to this old head of Shenluo Mountain Range Beast Hall. 7 chimes, this is. Recalling the rules surrounding the chiming of the bell, Hall Master Feng's face paled. His body trembled vigorously as he muttered, someone is challenging the 10 beasts cage? How? How is that possible? 10 beasts cage. Luo Tang and Fang Jin glanced at one another doubtfully. This was their first time hearing of this term. 10 beasts cage is actually a long and narrow metal cage. Placed within it are 10 savage beasts, and the further one advanced, the stronger the savage beasts become. To pass the trial, one has to travel from one end of the cage to the other end alone within 2 hours. Hall Master Feng's lips quivered. 10 savage beasts. Alone? This. Is it even possible? It's the primal instinct of a savage beast to attack strangers on sight. If that wasn't the case, beast tamer wouldn't be such a respected occupation either. One has to travel from one end of the cage to the other end and face 10 savage beasts within 2 hours. Luo Tang and Fang Jin exclaimed in shock. Even beast tamer Wang was dumbstruck. Savage beasts had a skeptical nature, and they possessed an innate hostility toward humans. Without any unique means, one would be attacked as soon as they came within the proximity of the savage beast. On top of that, the cage was narrow, so it was impossible to avoid contact altogether. It was possible to subdue a savage beast within 2 hours, but to face 10 of them consecutively? How was that possible? Suddenly recalling a matter, Luo Tang hurriedly asked, right, how strong will the savage beasts be? If the strength of the savage beasts was much weaker than the challenger, then even if there were 10 of them and their strength rose progressively, it wouldn't be completely impossible to clear the trial. The first 4 savage beasts will be a small cultivation realm weaker than the challenger. The 3 afterward will be of the same cultivation as the challenger. The next 2 will be a small cultivation realm stronger than the challenger, and the final one will be 2 small cultivation realms stronger than the challenger. Hall Master Feng's voice quivered as he spoke. What? The faces of the other 3 immediately turned ghastly pale. As beast tamers, they were well aware of how fearsome savage beasts were. They possessed immense physiques and frightening brute strength in the same cultivation realm. Human cultivators were definitely no match for savage beasts. Yet, at the very end, one had to face a savage beast 2 small cultivation realms stronger than oneself? Are you for real? There's no doubt about it, anyone who tries to challenge will surely die. Who would do something so foolish? What does one stand to gain out of this? Fang Jin couldn't help but ask. Intrigued, Luo Tang and the others turned to look at Hall Master Feng as well. It was impossible for someone to take such a risk if there was nothing to gain from it. This 10 beasts cage was clearly a death trap. Why would anyone even try to challenge it? Surely it was seeking death? Of course there are benefits to it. Hall Master clenched his fists so tightly that his nails were sinking into his flesh. Anyone to succeeds will be bestowed with a drop of Spirit Beast Blood Essence. Chapter 416. Who is it? What? Luo Tang and Fang Jin's eyes immediately reddened in agitation. Spirit beasts possess strength equivalent to transcendent mortal realm cultivators, and not only could their blood induce bloodline evolution in savage beasts, it could also temper a human's body, thus boosting one's strength. This thing was much more valuable than spirit stones. To think that the reward for challenging the 10 beasts cage was this. However, even though they knew now that there was such a reward, it was impossible for them to challenge the 10 beasts cage. No matter how valuable the reward was, it would be for naught if one lost one's life. What was the use of a blood essence if one was dead? It's already difficult to triumph over a savage beast of the same cultivation realm as one, needless to say, challenging 10 at once. Let's hurry over to see who is so desperate to die. Luo Tang said, gritting his teeth. He was confident that he would emerge as the champion for the beast taming competition, but even so, he didn't have the courage to face the 10 savage beasts alone. Who could it be? To barge in just like that, even causing the chiming of the bells. Was he really tired of living? Let's go over then. Hall Master Feng nodded in agreement. Beast Tamer Wang and Fang Jin were also curious to see who that brazen fellow was. Thus, the group hurried toward the Beast Hall, and soon, they arrived at a vast open ground. There was an enormous crater around 700 to 800 meters wide right in front of them. The crater was covered by an immense steel cage, and the 10 savage beasts were segregated into several groups, prowling around the area they were placed in. At this moment, a large group of people, attracted by the chiming of the bell, was standing at the perimeter of the crater, looking at the situation in the cage below. Their eyebrows and mouths were twitching in fear from that sight. There were many talented beast tamers amidst the crowd, but the sight of so many powerful savage beasts still caused their hair to stand on end. And the final one is a Xizuan Realm primary stage savage beast. Even a Xizuan Realm intermediate stage expert would find it hard to subdue it. How does he intend to clear the trial? Judging from how the weakest savage beast in it is a Xianxia Realm advanced stage, that means that the one challenging the 10 beasts cage is a Xianxia Realm pinnacle cultivator. Is it Wei Yudao, Jiang Nanping, Ji Wuxin, Fang Jin, or Luo Tang? From what I know, their cultivation realms are around that level, and their beast taming capability is also up to par. You must have been living under a rock. Jiang Nanping and the others have reached half Xizuan, and Wei Yudao even managed to achieve a breakthrough to Xizuan Realm primary stage. It's not them. Not them? Then who else could it be? Who would dare to challenge 10 powerful savage beasts face on? The strength of the savage beasts had caused a huge commotion among the crowd. The savage beast guarding the very end of the cage was a Xizuan Realm savage beast. Facing it was truly a ticket to hell. Who would be so reckless? Does he not fear death, or is he tired of living? To throw away one's life for a drop of spirit beast blood essence, that fellow must have a screw loose. Luo Tang couldn't help but comment. Spirit beast blood essence is valuable, but nothing could be more valuable than one's life. To disregard his life and challenge this hopeless trial. Has he gone mad? I know nearly all of the famous Xianxia Realm pinnacle beast tamers in vicinity of Xianyuan Kingdom. Who could it be? From what I remember, none of them are this irrational though. Fang Jin's eyebrows knitted tightly together in contemplation. Judging from the strength of the savage beast, it couldn't be Wei Yudao and the others. But other than them, who could possess the capability to challenge this 10 beasts cage? Furthermore, even if it was that bunch, they probably wouldn't dare to take on this seemingly hopeless trial. Challenging the 10 beasts cage? He sure is brazen. He's probably tired of living, and he just wants to make a name for himself before his death. Amidst the crowd, a young man crossed his arms and glanced at the cage below with slight disdain in his eyes. It was the genius who induced fear in Luo Tang and the others, Wei Yudao. Indeed. I've seen many of such people. Now, the only thing I'm curious about is whether he can even pass the first stage. Another person standing beside him harumphed. Another famous genius of Xianyuan Kingdom, Jiang Nanping. The two geniuses were as though two radiant stars among the crowd, and privately, they were good friends as well. Upon hearing that someone wanted to challenge the 10 beasts cage, they immediately hurried over. They wanted to see who possessed such courage. As for whether that person could pass the trial or not, they thought that it was a ridiculous question. Putting aside the Xizuan Realm savage beast at the very end, which was 2 small cultivation realms stronger than the challenger, just in the very first stage, the challenger had to face 4 savage beasts which were only 1 small cultivation realm weaker than him. This, in itself, was already a hopeless cause. The first stage consists of 4 Xianxia Realm advanced stage whirlwind wolves. This savage beast moves extremely fast, and they're adept at coordinating with one another in a battle. It is already a difficult feat for a Xianxia realm pinnacle to subdue one. With 4 of them, they could probably even defeat an average half-Zhizuan cultivator. Xianxia realm pinnacle? You must be dreaming. Wei Yudao shook his head. Indeed. That fellow will be torn to shreds in this stage. Jiang Nanping shook his head as well. He's asking for it anyway. Before challenging the 10 Beasts cage, one has to sign a life-and-death agreement absolving anyone of blame if the challenger were to die in the midst of the trial. Even if he were to die, it would only be his own fault. Wei Yudao harumphed coldly. Just as he was about to continue speaking, he suddenly caught sight of something and said, "He's out." Hearing his words, the crowd immediately turned their gazes onto the field below, and they saw a young man slowly walking toward the first stage of the 10 Beasts cage. This fellow looks extremely young. It can't be that he's under 20. He's indeed young. To be able to reach Xianxia realm pinnacle at such an age, he must be incredibly talented. Why would he be in such a rush to seek death? Upon seeing the appearance of the figure below, the crowd was taken aback. "Brother Wei, do you recognize him?" Jiang Nanping was also stunned. He knew all of the geniuses in the vicinity of Shenyuan Kingdom, but he had never seen this fellow before. "I've never seen him before." Wei Yudao shook his head. To challenge the 10 Beasts cage at such a young age, do you think that he has some ace up his sleeves? Jiang Nanping frowned. Ace up his sleeves? The 10 Beasts cage has been here for more than 1,000 years already, but no one has succeeded in clearing it before. No matter how many aces he has up his sleeve, it is impossible for him to succeed. He's probably just another brat who is trying too hard to impress others. Wei Yudao waved his hands nonchalantly. "You're right. In the 1,000 years since the Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall is set up, countless geniuses have challenged the 10 Beasts cage, but no one has succeeded before. This unknown fellow is probably just trying to earn some fame." Jiang Nanping expressed his approval of the other party's view. "I wonder, by the end of this trial, will he still have a breath in him to enjoy his fame?" "It is him. How could it be him? Is he mad?" Contrary to the crowd's doubtful gazes, upon seeing the figure, Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang's faces immediately warped, and they nearly bit off their tongues from shock. "You two know him?" Surprised, Luo Tang turned his gaze over. The person I often speak of. Beast Tamer Zhong." Biting his tongue tightly and confirming that he wasn't dreaming, Hall Master Feng fell into a daze. He was wondering what kind of incredible figure would challenge this impossible 10 Beasts cage, and never in his dreams did he expect that it would be that youngster he just met a month ago. Zhong Xian. Didn't this fellow head to Qianwu Kingdom? Why was he here? Furthermore, challenging the 10 Beasts cage? Didn't he know how dangerous it was? Furthermore, wasn't he at Tongxian Realm Pinnacle? When did he reach Xianxia Realm Pinnacle? Many doubts surfaced in Hall Master Feng's mind, jamming up his head, leaving him frenzied. The heck? What in the world was going on? His Zhong Xian. Luo Tang froze for a moment before sneering coldly. "You all spoke of him as though he was some kind of deity. I thought that he would be some formidable figure. To think that he's just an ignorant brat." Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang had praised Zhong Xian before him innumerable times, and this had left the proud him displeased. Even so, to be complimented like that by the 2 elders of the Beast Hall, Luo Tang thought that he would be a truly formidable figure. Yet, the other party turned out to be an ignorant brat who would charge mindlessly into the 10 Beasts cage. Genius. Pooey. Challenging the 10 Beasts cage, you sure know how to overestimate yourself. I will watch you be torn apart by the savage beasts later on. Thinking so, disdain slowly appeared in his eyes. Genius. You mean a genius at courting death, right? Hearing the conversation between them, Fang Jin sneered. No matter how proud a genius was, they knew their limits. To challenge the 10 Beasts cage for a drop of spirit beast blood essence that one couldn't obtain, that was an absolutely idiotic decision. Zhong Xian, be careful. From above, Mo Yu, Zhao Ya, and the others gazed at the situation anxiously. Mo Yu had been intrigued by how Xianxia intended to raise his cultivation by coming to the beast hall. Upon hearing that he was going to challenge the 10 beasts cage, she immediately came to a realization: spirit beast blood essence. However, even if the spirit beast blood essence could augment one's strength, was it worth going through such risk just for it? There are 10 savage beasts, and every single one of them can easily slaughter a cultivator. Even if you manage to pass the first 2 stages through your extraordinary beast taming capability, what about the ones afterward? Half Xizuan savage beasts and a Xizuan realm primary stage savage beast. This was a lineup that even a Xizuan realm intermediate stage cultivator would be unwilling to face. Teacher will surely be fine, Zhao Wei said. She possessed absolute trust in her teacher, but the dangerous sight before her still left her worried. He should be fine. Mo Yu nodded as well, but it seemed as though she was convincing herself instead. In contrast to the disdain and tense expression of those above, Xianxia seemed completely relaxed. To exact his vengeance, Xianxia would have to grow stronger. Even if he were to gather a sufficient quantity of Xizuan realm cultivation technique to form a complete Xizuan realm heaven's path divine art, he would require a huge number of spirit stones to fuel his cultivation. As such, there was only one way left for him to grow stronger swiftly: spirit beast blood essence. As long as he had a sufficient quantity of it, through his Heaven's Path Golden Body 2 Dan, he would be able to temper his physical body to reach Xizuan Realm Pinnacle in the shortest possible time. Spirit Beast Blood Essence was incomparably valuable, so it was unlikely for beast halls to sell it to outsiders. Besides, even if it was up for sales, Xianxia couldn't afford it anyway. Given his current strength, he couldn't snatch it by brute force either. Thus, the only path left before him was to challenge the 10 beasts cage. According to the books, as long as he succeeded, he would be given a droplet of spirit beast blood essence. Who? Breathing out a mouthful of turbid gas, Xianxia glanced at the 4 whirlwind wolves of the first stage and smiled faintly. Come on. At which, he walked forward to the 4 ferocious wolves. He's charging straight in. Is that fellow trying to charge through via brute force? There must be something wrong with his head. One should use their beast taming capability along with their strength to challenge the 10 beasts cage. He should at least throw out some food or something to win the other party's goodwill before trying anything. Wouldn't he incur their anger by charging straight in? He's doomed. The whirlwind wolves have already been provoked. The 10 beasts cage wasn't just about one's battling prowess. After all, it was impossible for one to defeat so many powerful savage beasts within 2 hours. The standard way was to use beast taming means to get on good terms with the savage beasts so as to pass through their area peacefully. Yet, without even saying anything, this fellow charged straight in as though a fool. Aren't you inviting the whirlwind wolves to tear you apart? Chapter 417, The Cute Whirlwind Wolves Fool. Wei Yudao harumphed coldly in disdain. Those were whirlwind wolves, one of the most aggressive savage beasts in the forests. Even though they only possessed a cultivation of Xianxia realm advanced stage, in a practical battle, even half Xizuan cultivators had to be wary. Yet, this fool actually charged in without any preparation. You must be joking. Whirlwind wolves fancy the meat of flowing wave beast. If one were to barbecue the meat and offer it to them, one could easily earn their goodwill. But of course, that isn't sufficient to tame a whirlwind wolf. It would require at least 2 to 3 additional years of hard work to do so. For this fellow to charge in without any preparations, it can't be that he intends to face them straight on. Jiang Nanping's mouth widened in astonishment. How can there be such a foolish person in the world? Could it be that he isn't a beast tamer? No matter how much strength one possessed, or how much Xianxia one harnessed in one's body, it was impossible for one to barge through the trial consisting of 10 powerful savage beasts using brute force. One had to utilize all kinds of beast taming methods and win the other party's goodwill so as to keep it from attacking one. To charge straight in without any preparatory work. There must be something wrong with his head. No sane beast tamer would do this. If he's truly a beast tamer, then he's a shame to all beast tamers in the world. Wei Yudao harumphed coldly. That's right. Jiang Nanping nodded. No rational beast tamer in the world would commit such foolishness. Let's not talk about him. Brother Wei, how would you get past this stage? Disregarding that mad fellow, Jiang Nanping asked curiously. As geniuses, the both of them were rivals. However, at the same time, they were also learning from one another and improving together. Me. Wei Yudao's mouth curled up, and a dazzling smile surfaced on his dashing face. Simple, I'd offer them the barbecued meat of a flowing wave beast and the spring water from the turquoise clarity mountain. After which, I'd defeat the strongest one of the lot in the fastest time possible. Hearing the other party's solution, Jiang Nanping couldn't help but clap his hands in praise. Brother Wei is indeed incredible. The flowing wave beast and water from the turquoise clarity mountain are the favorites of the whirlwind wolves. Using these two things to win their fancy before striking down on one of them violently. The most attractive carrot and the most painful stick. They'd surely lose their fighting will swiftly. Brilliant, that is truly brilliant. He. No matter how united savage beasts are, they're only beasts. One just has to divide them and make them lose their fighting will. The first stage actually isn't too difficult. After which, Wei Yudai turned to Jiang Nanping and asked, "What about you, Brother Jiang? How will you deal with this situation?" Me. Jiang Nanping raised his right hand and pointed to the cage valiantly. My method is different from that of Brother Wei. I'd. The heck? What is going on? How is this possible? Jiang Nanping was about to explain the idea he had in mind to the other party when his eyes narrowed. Gradually, his face paled, and he nearly lost his balance and fell down from shock. What's wrong? Seeing his good friend losing his composure, going to the extent of even spouting vulgarities, Wei Yudao frowned. He also turned his gaze to the cage below. With a single look, his body trembled, and he nearly spurted a mouthful of blood. This. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? The duo stared at one another silently. Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang, you two must be old. I told you all that Xianxia couldn't be as incredible as you all put him out to be, but you all just wouldn't listen to me. See what's happening now. Upon seeing Xianxia diving into the group of whirlwind wolves, Luo Tang glanced at the two elders behind him and shook his head. What in the world were you all thinking? Do you think that this goof can represent the Shenluo Mountain Range Beast Hall in this competition? And that he is superior to me? You must be pulling my leg. It's fortunate you two didn't bring him here. Otherwise, it'd only be embarrassing. Luo Tang spoke with a concerned tone, but smugness hung on the corners of his lips. Those two old fogies actually compared him with this fool? They must be blind. Actually, I don't mean to blame you all by saying these words. I just hope that you all won't be deceived by the lies of despicable people. Halfway through his words, Luo Tang suddenly felt someone tugging on his sleeve. What? Luo Tang frowned. Turning around, he saw Fang Jin staring at him with a dazed expression. Fear and shock reflected in his eyes. Brother Fang. Luo Tang was taken aback. He was just about to ask about it when he caught sight of the scene below with his peripheral vision. In that instant, it felt as though his head exploded, and tears threatened to spill from his eyes. What was this situation? In the cage below, the ferocious and valiant whirlwind wolves were standing before the young man with a fawning look. They rubbed their heads ceaselessly on the pants of the other party and licked him throughout. On top of that, they were wagging their tails so fast that it almost looked like a propeller, and it looked as though it was going to be shaken off at any time now. They were not attacking him, but fawning over him. You all are the conquerors of the forest, the fearsome whirlwind wolves, not pugs. Why in the world are you all acting cute? What are you all up to? This is complete submission? It's offering to form a contract with him. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Luo Tang spoke with a hoarse voice. It couldn't be any clearer to him that the whirlwind wolves, who were feared as the conquerors of the forest, were fawning on Xianxia, hoping that the other party would take them in as his tamed beast. Weren't whirlwind wolves proud animals who refused to associate themselves with humans? Didn't taming them take several years of relentless effort? When did they become like dogs, stretching out their tongue and shaking their tails, waiting for someone to tame them. On top of that, complete submission? What in the world happened? Unable to comprehend the sight before him, Luo Tang turned to look at Fang Jin. He was too busy lecturing Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang a moment ago, so he didn't pay careful attention. He didn't think that such a huge turnaround would occur in a blink of an eye. The situation at this instant left him completely baffled. That Beast Tamer Zhong rushed into the wolves, and after pummeling them for a moment, it just turned out like this. Fang Jin was also on the verge of tears. He tried to explain the situation, but he realized that he had no idea what had just happened either. He had seen the entire proceeding clearly, but yet, despite seeing everything, he found himself even more confused than Luo Tang. The ferocious disposition of the whirlwind wolves a moment ago wasn't just a facade. Given his eye of discernment, he could at least tell this much. Yet, why did they suddenly change their attitudes after getting beaten up? He had once accompanied an elder in the Beast Hall to capture a whirlwind wolf, and he had seen its callous personality for himself. Sometimes, it would even launch a lethal assault on a person right after it was fed with delicacies. Otherwise, it wouldn't have earned the nickname Ingrate Wolf. It was one of the hardest savage beasts to tame. Yet, it was reduced to such a state right after a round of beating. Can you all be any more shameless? Can you all be any more embarrassing than this? They became like that right after a pummeling. Luo Tang was also dumbfounded. He was about to inquire more about it when Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang spoke in agitation. It's Beast Tamer Zhong's unique technique, Beast Pummeling Taming Method. Indeed. To think that he would use it here. No matter how I look at it, I can't help but be impressed. Beast Pummeling Taming Method. Luo Tang and Fang Jin stared at the duo in confusion. Beast Pummeling Taming Method is a unique technique that Beast Tamer Zhong's teacher came up with. As long as a savage beast is beaten up using this technique, it would immediately submit to one. Back then, during the Beast Tamer examination, he used this technique to tame a half-Xianxia viridescent eagle on the spot. Seeing incomprehension in the eyes of the two, Hall Master Feng explained. Getting a savage beast to submit through beating it? What the heck? Shouldn't beating savage beasts trigger the rebellious streak in them? To submit after a pummeling? How in the world could there be such a bizarre beast taming technique in the world? Why did it feel as though they were dreaming? The duo only felt thunder rumbling by their ears, and their head was about to convulse from shock. Complete submission. He actually tamed those whirlwind wolves in just a few breaths. At this moment, Wei Yudao and Jiang Nanping had finally recovered from their immense shock from the sight, and a dazed look appeared on their faces. Even though whirlwind wolves are only Xianxia realm advanced stage savage beasts, they possessed incredible speed and outstanding offensive ability. They definitely boost one's fighting prowess significantly. That fellow is truly lucky. Jiang Nanping commented in envy. He thought that given how rash this fellow was, he would definitely be torn to shreds by the fangs of the whirlwind wolves. Yet, not only was he fine, he even managed to tame 4 whirlwind wolves at a single go. Indeed. I don't know what kind of secret technique he used to tame those whirlwind wolves, but it's an extremely fortunate affair for a beast tamer to have a savage beast willingly pledge its servitude to him. That fellow must be overflowing with joy at this moment. Wei Yudao said. There were different stages to the taming of a beast: inceptive taming, advanced taming, and complete submission. Only upon complete submission would a savage beast willingly sign a contract and serve one. This wasn't just a show of acknowledgement by a savage beast, this was also a display of the capability of a beast tamer. That fellow must be feeling proud at how he managed to get the proud whirlwind wolves lower their heads in such a short period of time. Even if he failed the later stages, he would have already succeeded in making a name for himself. Indeed. Awed, the duo glanced downward to see the contract forming between the young man and the 4 savage beasts, but contrary to their expectation, the young man kicked them away impatiently. Scram to the side, don't cause me trouble here.
Bing 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 bing.
For sorrowful cries sounded as the whirlwind wolves were kicked to the side. Then, the young man started walking with large strides over to the next stage. Woo 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 woo. Despite being kicked, not only did the whirlwind wolves not charge forward to attack Xianxia out of anger, they even laid on the ground motionless, not daring to make a single move as they watched the other party off with gazes mixed with desire and frustration. The heck! Upon seeing this sight, all of the spectators were dumbfounded. Chapter 4:18. Tiger Head Beast. Several hundred meters away from the 10 beasts' cages stood a tall tower. 2 elders were standing by the windows with an incredulous look on their faces. They were Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall's Hall Master Xiaochen and Grand Elder Wei Yuqing. And that Wei Yudao was the grandson of this Grand Elder. When Zhongxian arrived at the Beast Hall, the first thing he did was to look for these 2. To enter the 10 beasts' cage, he needed the permission of these 2. Did you see his movements clearly? Xiaochen asked in disbelief. I only saw him beating up the whirlwind wolves. Other than that, I am unable to see through anything else. Grand Elder Wei Yuqing's face reddened. As a 3-star beast tamer, his cultivation had reached Zhizuan realm pinnacle, granting him vision much sharper than ordinary cultivators. He should have been able to at least comprehend the trick behind the other party's actions. Yet, just like anyone else, he was also completely baffled. Just by thinking about it left him embarrassed. His movements were too fast, so it's normal that you were unable to see anything. If I'm not wrong, on top of the means of a beast tamer, he has also utilized some master-teacher techniques. Hall Master Xiaochen said with a grave face. Master-teacher techniques? Grand Elder Wei Yuqing asked doubtfully. Indeed. Even though it seemed as though he recklessly charged forward to attack those whirlwind wolves, every blow of his struck accurately on the meridians and acupoints of the other party. With just a few strikes, he managed to stimulate their cultivation, bringing their strength, which was capped by their bloodline, up to new heights. Hall Master Xiaochen explained, this is similar to clearing a cultivator's meridians. After those strikes of his, even though there wasn't any visible difference to the whirlwind wolves, their cultivation has already grown significantly. Raising their own strength has always been a huge difficulty for savage beasts. Given how the other party is able to induce such a huge growth in their strength just through a few strikes, it's natural that the whirlwind wolves would submit willingly to him. This. Wei Yuqing widened his eyes in shock. Even though the other party had put it simply, the difficulty in doing so was so great that it could be said to be impossible. Every single whirlwind wolf possessed a different constitution and maturity, so their physical conditions, as well as the location of their meridians and acupoints, would differ from one another. To identify them in an instant and strike on them accurately. What kind of eyes did the other party possess? How in the world did he do it? Putting him aside, even 4-star master teachers would be hard-pressed to do so. Other than this, I can't think of any other possibilities. Hall Master Xiaochen's eyes shone in agitation. That lad might be young, but he possesses top-notch talent for beast taming. Indeed. Let's see how he'll pass the second stage. Wei Yuqing nodded. To be capable of executing techniques so profound that even 3-star beast tamers were unable to decipher them, that lad was indeed impressive. In the second stage, he'll have to face 3 tiger head beasts of the same cultivation realm as him. Hall Master Xiaochen's face turned grim. Different from whirlwind wolves, tiger head beasts are solitary beasts, and they prefer to strike on their own. However, they possess formidable strength, and their bodies and claws are on the level of phantom equipment. It wouldn't be wrong to say that they possess invincible defense. Ordinary swords and spears can never hope to pierce through its skin. It'll be hard for him to use the same method from before and strike their acupoints and meridians. Indeed. Grandmaster Wei Yuqing nodded in agreement. As a 3-star beast tamer, he could deduce that much. Even though the 4 whirlwind wolves were fearsome adversaries, those who dared to challenge the 10 beasts cage were not ordinary beast tamers. At least 8 to 9 of the challengers would manage to get past the first stage. The true test only started from here onward. Even though savage beasts possess superior physique, speed, and defense to cultivators of the same level, humans possessed an advantage in their intelligence and the heritage of battle techniques. As long as one learned several formidable battle techniques, with one's superior cultivation, it wasn't impossible to subdue 4 whirlwind wolves. However, Subduing 3 savage beasts of the same cultivation realm as one was clearly much harder. Furthermore, the tiger head beast was adept at individual brawling, and its defense was invincible among those of the same cultivation realm. It was no joke to say that 10 out of 10 challengers would fail in this stage, ending up dead or crippled. Prepare to save him as soon as it seems like he's in danger. Such talent is rare in the Beast Hall. Hall Master Xianxia felt that it was a pity to see such a talent fall here, so he passed on a command. UN. Grand Elder Wei Yuqing nodded. Given that even he was unable to see through the beast taming technique that the other party used, it was likely that this Xianxia either had an unbelievably formidable teacher or he possessed an eye of discernment and talent far surpassing that of others. Regardless of which one it was, the Beast Hall would have to protect him with all its might. Look, it's starting. In the midst of the conversation between the duo, Xianxia was already right before the 3 tiger head beasts, and it seemed as though a battle would trigger at any moment now. Tiger head beasts possess a powerful physique and have a solitary and skeptical personality. It won't be as easy to tame as the whirlwind wolves. Standing before the 3 massive gigantic beasts that resembled tigers, its information surfaced in Xianxia's head. Mature tiger head beasts could grow up to a height of 3 meters and a length of 5 meters. Given its impenetrable defense and massive physique, it already emanated a formidable pressure to face one, so one can only imagine the pressure of fighting 3 of them simultaneously. Even without resorting to any techniques, just its charge would be sufficient to destroy an ordinary cultivator. However, all of this meant nothing to Xianxia. Even though Xianxia's cultivation was still stuck at Xianxia realm pinnacle, his true fighting prowess was already equivalent to that of a Zhizuan realm intermediate stage expert. 3 tiger head beasts truly meant nothing much to him. With a thought, lines of insight surfaced in Xianxia's narrowed eyes. The form of the 3 gigantic tiger head beasts immediately changed. The layout of their muscle, the arrangement of their bones, the pathways of their meridians, the faults in their physique, all of them suddenly appeared right before Xianxia's eyes. Eye of insight. After the soul tempering of a mentor's calligraphy, not only was Xianxia able to peer into the flaws of those a small cultivation realm stronger than him, the number of flaws he could see had also increased significantly. These 3 tiger head beasts may seem imposing to the others, but all he could see were flaws all over them. Let's begin then, I'll end this in an instant. So what if they're difficult to tame? My goal isn't to tame them anyway. With a slight smile, Xianxia stepped forward. His final goal was to pass the 10 beasts cage, not to tame the savage beasts in it. Rather, even if he managed to tame them and they became attached to him, that would become troublesome. Roar! He took a step forward, and with this, he stepped into the territory of the tiger head beasts. With a ferocious roar, the 3 massive figures immediately charged forward and surrounded him. Tiger head beasts possess outstanding defense. It'll probably be a difficult fight. Wei Yudao narrowed his eyes. Indeed. Jiang Nanping nodded in agreement. If he can break through the other party's defense, he might still stand a chance. Otherwise, he's doomed.
Bing 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 bing.
Just as the duo was talking, the young man below began exchanging blows with the 3 gigantic beasts. Why did he strike the tiger head beast's abdomen? Is he insane? Jiang Nanping's face warped in shock. Different from other savage beasts, the abdomen is where its defense is the strongest. It often intentionally exposes it to lure others to attack it so as to create a momentary lapse in the other party's defense to strike. Wei Yudao's complexion looked awful as well. Most savage beasts were unable to train their abdomen, so it was usually their weak spot. However, the tiger head beast was different. It had an additional bone at its abdomen, granting it unimaginable resilience. This was precisely the reason why it often used it to bait cultivators to attack it. To strike at it, one would have to get into the range of the tiger head beast's offense. By then, wouldn't it be free to do as it pleased? Given how the youngster managed to tame the whirlwind wolves so swiftly, the other party should have an in-depth understanding of the habits and properties of savage beasts. How did he make such a low-level mistake? Not only was striking the abdomen ineffective, one would be doomed the moment the tiger head beast counterattacks. Look, the tiger head beast is about to retaliate. While the duo was frowning at that sight, the man and the beast below had already come into contact with one another. Upon seeing the fellow strike its abdomen, the tiger head beast's eyes glowed in excitement. Its thick tail immediately reached forward to pull the young man to him. Yet, before its tail could reach the other party, the latter's fist had already struck its abdomen. Disdain and mock flashed across its eyes when a dull thud suddenly sounded. Pang! Immense force flowed through the other party's arm onto its body. The mock on its face froze, and its eyes widened in shock. Its tongue fell out of its mouth, and saliva started dripping uncontrollably down the corners of its mouth. Sue! The 5-meter-long gigantic tiger body flew backward and struck the cage. Pang! The figure of a massive tiger was imprinted on the steel cage. Whirla! Then, falling from the sky onto the ground, a huge storm of dust rose. The tiger head beast struggled, and large mouthfuls of vomit spilled from its mouth. It tried to get back up, but excruciating pain struck its abdomen, rendering it completely immobile. What? He struck at the point where the tiger head beast's defense is the strongest, and he still rendered it powerless. This. In an instant, the spectators standing in the perimeter of the cage fell silent. The tiger head beast possessed incredible defense. Under normal circumstances, the fist of a cultivator felt nothing more like an itch to it. Yet, to nearly kill it with a single blow. How did the other party do it? Are you sure that it is a fist, and not the leg of an elephant? It's Heaven's Path fist art. Among the crowd, Liu Yang tightened his fists and exclaimed with reddened eyes. This was the Heaven's Path fist art that teacher imparted to him. Even though the movements were the exact same as his, there was a world of difference between the might of his teacher's punch and his own. Given how the Xianxia realm pinnacle tiger head beast was rendered powerless with a single blow, even a Xizuan realm primary stage cultivator would be unable to withstand the might of that fist. Looks like I should devote more effort to it in the future. Liu Yang made up his mind. Roar! Oblivious to the shock among the crowd, after sending the first tiger head beast flying, Xianxia turned to the remaining two. Upon meeting his gaze, the edges of the lips of the other two gigantic fellows immediately twitched, and they hurriedly retreated backward. They didn't possess the intelligence of a human, but they were no fools either. The one who was sent flying was the strongest of them, but, at the moment, it looked as though it might just breathe its last at any moment now. Since that was the case, how could they possibly withstand that strike? Don't be scared. Let me hit you once, and we can end this here. Otherwise, if you all don't fall, I won't be able to proceed on with the trial. Seeing the savage beast renowned for its ferociousness backing away from fear, Xianxia was speechless. He clenched his fists and beckoned them forward. Pada! Pada! As soon as Xianxia spoke those words, the sound of two heavy objects falling to the ground suddenly echoed. Then, they saw the two imposing tiger head beast falling to the ground at the same moment with their 4 legs facing the sky. Their tongues were stuck out, and saliva flowed continuously out of their mouths. Xianxia. The crowd. Chapter 419, 7 Meridians Vicious Bear. What's going on? Are the two tiger head beasts sick? Sick my head. Can't you tell? It's obvious that they're intimidated. After the other party said that if you all don't fall, I won't be able to proceed on with the trial, those two fellows immediately dropped from fright. After a moment of silence, an uproar burst in the area. They had seen savage beasts fighting resolutely against an opponent to their last breath. They had seen arrogant savage beasts who disregarded all that came their way. But they had never seen a savage beast who played dead even before the fight began. How scared are you both of that fellow? Without making a move, he made the ferocious tiger head beast so scared that they chose to play dead. Luo Tang and Fang Jin nearly bit their own tongues. Wasn't this way too exaggerated? Those were tiger head beasts, incomparably ferocious animals. They were existences who dared to bare their fangs against Xizuan realm experts. Yet, after witnessing a single punch, they immediately fell to the ground and allowed saliva to trickle from their lips. Can you all be any more shameless than that? Whatever happened to the pride of a savage beast? The backbone of the dictator of the forest? The disposition of a Xianxia realm pinnacle? Luo Tang and the others felt as though their worldly horizons were being pushed to new boundaries. 10 minutes ago, they prided themselves on being invincible in the art of beast taming in Shenyuan Kingdom. However, upon seeing Zhongxian, they realized how insignificant they were. Despite inducing complete submission among a group of whirlwind wolves within a few breaths, that fellow kicked them away as though they were nothing. All right, you might not necessarily need them, so I will grudgingly overlook it. But, to scare a tiger-head beast into playing dead with a single word, isn't that way too exaggerated? If it were me, what would happen? Putting himself in the other party's situation, Luo Tang immediately burst into tears. If he was the one facing the 3 tiger-head beasts, he would probably immediately fall to the ground and play dead upon hearing the other party's howl. Before this, he thought that Hall Master Feng and the others were going overboard praising this fellow. However, only now did he know that there was a world of a difference between this fellow and him. I won't be able to do so either. Fang Jin shook his head with a bitter smile. Even as a half-Shizuan expert, he didn't stand a chance against 3 tiger-head beasts at once. Under such circumstances, the best he could do was to run as far as he could. Subduing and taming it were completely out of question. The tiger-head beast's defense is strongest at its abdomen, but it's also where its strength originates from. Through striking at that spot with pure brute strength, that lad instantaneously destroyed its biological structure, resulting in its nausea and powerless. Seeing that sight, Hall Master Xiaochen widened his mouth in shock. It took him a long moment before he recovered. After seeing the sight, the 2 remaining tiger-head beasts knew that the same plight would befall them if they were to be struck. Once a savage beast loses its fighting prowess, it would be no different from dead. No matter how foolish they might be, it was clear what they should do. The primal instincts of a savage beast also taught them to avoid the strong. When facing a being far stronger than itself, even the most arrogant savage beast would back down. Indeed. However, to achieve this, one needs to possess more than brute strength. Above that, one has to have a complete understanding of the physique of a tiger-head beast so as to instantaneously determine the point of weakness among the muscles, bones, and meridians amidst its huge abdomen before one can subdue it with a single blow. Grand Elder Wei Yuqing was also stunned. Those were tiger-head beasts. Even with his current strength, it was still impossible for him to instill so much fear in them with a single blow that they would play dead. This was no longer just a matter of possessing immense brute strength. Only those who possesses complete understanding of the tiger-head beast, its habits, attacking pattern, physique, and such were able to do so. Only then would one be able to achieve such a feat so easily. Was he still a human? For a 2-star beast tamer who wasn't in his 20s yet, how in the world did he do it? If I'm not wrong, he probably has a tiger-head beast as a tamed beast. After innumerable days and nights of companion, he managed to gain an in-depth understanding of the latter. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense at all. After thinking for a moment, Hall Master Xiaochen eventually spoke up. It was impossible for such knowledge to appear from nowhere. It was only through books and practical experience that one could gain complete understanding over something. Back then, there was a painter in the capital who, in order to bring out the spirit within bamboo, planted bamboos all around his house and observed them day after day. After 27 years, he managed to produce a masterpiece and made a name for himself. In order to better understand their tamed beast, some beast tamers would choose to accompany their tamed beast day and night. Some even went to the extent of mimicking their actions so as to learn more about their habits. Through this, they were able to create cultivation techniques that complemented their tamed beast, and they were also able to earn trust from their tamed beast as well. Given that the other party was able to get the tiger-head beasts to admit defeat in an instant through means they were unable to think of, this could only mean that the other party's understanding of this savage beast had far surpassed them. Most probably, he had put a lot of effort into the study of tiger-head beasts. And to do so, it was likely that he had tamed one. Indeed. Grand Elder Wei Yuqing nodded in agreement. Then, he glanced at the cage, and worry surfaced in his eyes. He might be able to pass this stage due to his deep understanding of the tiger-head beast, but the 3rd stage won't be that easy. For the 3rd stage, he'll have to face the half-Shizuan 7 Meridians vicious bear Hall Master Xiaochen's complexion slowly turned grim. This kind of savage beast is extremely rare, and it's nearly impossible to tame it. Thus, it's impossible for him to have prior knowledge of it. More importantly, it possesses immense strength. Even though its cultivation is only at half Zhizhuan, it's very likely that its true strength has surpassed 10,000 ding. UN. The 7 meridians vicious bear only has 7 meridians in its body, but it provides them with an advantage as well. To make up for the lacking quantity of meridians in its body, its meridians grew thicker, granting it with immense strength. If not for its slow movements, it would have been surely classified as a Zhizhuan realm savage beast.
Grand Elder Wei Yuqing nodded.
The only reason why the 7 meridians vicious bear was publicly acknowledged to be a half Zhizhuan realm savage beast was because of its lacking speed. However, in terms of strength, even Zhizhuan realm primary stage cultivators were unable to match up to it. In order to make up for the flaw of the 7 meridians vicious bear, the area for the third stage of the 10 beasts cage is made narrower. This way, its limited speed wouldn't become too much of a problem, and the challenger won't be able to circumvent it. Given the strength of the 7 meridians vicious bear, it'll be difficult for that lad to get by using the 2 techniques he used for the previous 2 stages.
Hall Master Xie Jiuchen said.
Even though Xianxia had passed the first 2 stages easily, there was a possibility that he might have prepared specially for them in advance. If he had studied the flaws of the 2 savage beasts intensely beforehand, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to pass the 2 stages. But the third stage was different. Due to the narrow area, it would be difficult for one to escape from the assault of the 7 meridians vicious bear. On top of that, the flaw of the 7 meridians vicious bear was on its back, and given the limited area, it was impossible for one to sneak to its back and strike it. Thus, one would be forced to face it straight on. It was one thing if Zhongxian's cultivation equaled with it. However, not only was the savage beast's cultivation one small realm higher than Zhongxian, he also had to face 2 at once. The difficulty was unimaginable. It was not an exaggeration to say that there was no hope of victory. Most probably, his challenge will come to an end here. Jiang Nanping's tightly clenched fists slowly released. It was true that the other party had shocked him with his feat with the tiger head beasts. But the 7 meridians vicious bear was different. Given the narrow space, one could only face it in a battle of strength. Without sufficient strength, losing was inevitable. From the battle between the young man with the whirlwind wolves, it was clear that he was more adept in swift movements. Such cultivators often lacked strength. After all, it was impossible for one to be skilled in everything. Even a Zhizhuan realm primary stage cultivator would be unable to subdue a 7 meridians vicious bear. He'll surely be unable to withstand its attacks.
Wei Yudao shared the same point of view.
If the second stage with the tiger head beasts could be described as dangerous, then the third one with the 7 meridians vicious bear would cause despair. Even with its slow speed, it was impossible for a Xianxia realm pinnacle to triumph over it. Let's see what weapon he'll use.
Jiang Nanping commented.
Due to the overwhelming difficulty of the third stage, challengers were permitted to use their choice weapon from a selection provided by the Beast Hall. However, due to the confined space, one had to choose carefully. If the weapon was too long, one would not be able to move freely, and it would become a burden instead. On the other hand, if it was too short, it would be difficult to deal significant damage to the massive body of the 7 meridians vicious bear, thus rendering it useless. If one didn't choose wisely, it would almost be equivalent to forfeiting. He's already in front of the weapon rack. I guess he'll probably use a hammer or something similar. It allows him to launch powerful blows, and it is easy to use as well. I think it should be a sharp dagger or something of the sort. It'll be much easier to use them. The duo stared fixedly at the young man below as they spoke their conjectures. However, before they could finish their words, the sight below caused them to freeze. The youngster below simply walked past the weapon rack as though he didn't see it.
He didn't choose anything? What does this mean?
It can't be that. He intends to face the 7 meridians vicious bear barehanded.
Barehanded?
Is that fellow mad? The 7 meridians vicious bear was known for his immense strength. Through the skillful utilization of one's weapon, one might still stand a chance. But barehanded, how could he possibly win? This was no different from smashing an egg on a stone. This was courting death. It's beginning. It's too late to choose a weapon now. Just as the duo were shocked, the young man below had already walked into the attacking radius of the 2-7 Meridian's vicious bear. Roar! Roar! Two massive figures blocking the narrow passageway of the cage entirely roared furiously as they stared at the young man in savagery, as though they would tear him apart. Not only does the 7 Meridian's vicious bear possess immense strength, its defense is also top-notch. Under such circumstances, the narrow space is truly advantageous to it. This stage is a little tricky. Xianxia muttered as he looked ahead. There was a lot of information on the 7 Meridian's vicious bear within the books that he assimilated to his head, and thus, he knew how fearsome and powerful these two fellows were. If he hadn't cultivated the Heaven's Path Golden Body 2 Dan, he would surely find it difficult to face them. But now, they didn't mean much to him. As for weapons, the spear art, sword art, and saber art that Xianxia learned were way too sharp and powerful. If he were to accidentally kill the other party in the midst of the battle, wouldn't the Beast Hall come after him? Even in Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall, half-Shizu and savage beasts were rare. Alright, I should hurry up. I still want to gather a few more drops of spirit beast blood essence. Shaking his head, Xianxia dashed forward. In the blink of an eye, he was already standing right before a 7 Meridian's vicious bear. Then, with both of his hands, he grabbed the arm of one of the massive fellows. Rise! Howling furiously, Xianxia flipped it over. What's this fighting method? Wei Yudao, Jiang Nanping, Hall Master Xie Zhouchen, Grand Elder Wei Yuqing, and the others were dumbfounded by the sight. Chapter 420. I want to challenge 10 Beasts Cage Roar? Roar! Roar! The 7 Meridian's vicious bear was dumbstruck as well. It thought that dealing with a Xianxia realm cultivator would be a walk in a park, but before it could even process what was going on, the fellow had already rushed up to him and flipped him over. What are you roaring for? The voice of a young man echoed before the head of the 7 Meridian's vicious bear smashed onto the metal cage.
Bing, 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 bing.
Its massive body kept coming into intimate contact with the metal cage sometimes. It would be the left side of his head, sometimes it would be the right side. The continuous smashing left its head spinning, and it was on the verge of spurting blood. The other 7 Meridian's vicious bear clearly didn't expect this fellow to be so ferocious and powerful, bashing its companion around easily. It immediately prepared to charge forward to assist its companion. You wish to save it? Here you go. Before the other bear could charge up to the young man, a light chuckle sounded, and a massive shadow came flying straight toward it. It didn't have any time to react before it was struck squarely in the face, and the two bears came crashing to the ground. Do you two admit defeat? With his hands placed in his pockets, Xianxia casually walked over to the two light-headed massive beasts. Roar! The second 7 Meridian's vicious bear bellowed once more, and prepared to counterattack. However, Xianxia simply shook his head, grabbed its arm, and started smashing it on the metal cage.
Bing, 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 bing.
Large holes appeared on the ground and the metal cage. Gathering all of its strength, the first vicious bear, whose head was still turning from Xianxia's prior assault, weakly got to its feet, but at that moment, its companion, held by Xianxia as though a club, was sent flying straight into it. Pada! Not too long later, the two massive fellows finally caved in. They lay on the ground faint-headed, devoid of the strength to climb back up. Contesting strength with me? You must be jesting. Having cultivated Heaven's Path Golden Body 2 Dan, Xianxia possessed a total strength of 15,000 ding. No matter how strong those two fellows were, they didn't stand a chance against him. To render the tiger head beast who is known for its outstanding defense powerless with a single fist, and throw around the 7 Meridian's vicious bear who is known for its unparalleled strength so easily. Is he still a human? Is he really just a Xianxia realm pinnacle cultivator? The surroundings were completely silent. Everyone thought that the other party must have a screw loose to challenge the 10 Beasts cage, but at this moment, it couldn't be any clearer that he had the power to back it up. What whirlwind wolves, tiger head beasts, or 7 Meridian's vicious bears? Despite their fearsome reputation, they seemed no different from little chicks before him. They were sent flying about at his whim. His cultivation is really Xianxia realm pinnacle, just that, he seems to be using pure physical strength. It took a very long time before Hall Master Xianxia could shut his gaping mouth. Previously, as the other party subdued his opponents swiftly through technique, he failed to notice it. But this time, the other party was clearly using strength beyond that of an ordinary Xianxia realm pinnacle, and there wasn't even the slightest Xianxia disturbance from him. To think that on top of his understanding of savage beast and outstanding eye of discernment, that lad's strength would be at a fearsome level as well. It shouldn't be just his strength itself. Given how he was so able to hold onto the vicious bear's arm so easily, he probably used some technique as well.
Grand Elder Wei Yuqing said. Indeed.
Even though the vicious bear's movements are slow, it is still a half-Xizuan savage beast, and it has adapted over time to make up for its flaws. To be able to render it unable to retaliate so easily, his grip probably isn't as simple as it seems. Most probably, he held onto the savage beast's acupoint to prevent it from exerting strength. Hall Master Xianxia was already completely at a loss for words. Under normal circumstances, even if one were to grab onto the arm of a 7 Meridians vicious bear, given the savage beast's massive physique and overwhelming strength, how could it possibly allow one to throw it around so easily? Thus, it was highly possible that the lad had held onto the vicious bear's vitals with his grip. This vital was probably something similar to the Ming men of human cultivators. Once grabbed, it would render it completely powerless. Hallmaster, do you think that it is possible that he has been raising a 7 Meridians vicious bear?
Grand Elder Wei Yuqing asked.
Previously the Hallmaster said that it was likely that the other party had raised a tiger head beast given his deep understanding of its physique. Given how that lad was able to find the flaw on the 7 Meridian vicious beast so quickly as well. Could it be that he had been raising one as well?
Cough cough.
Hall Master Xianxia's face turned red, and he nearly choked to death on his saliva. It was common for a beast tamer to rear a tamed beast at home, but a bunch? It wasn't like the other party was operating a zoo. How could he possibly be rearing whirlwind wolves, tiger head beasts, and now, a 7 Meridians vicious bear as well? He has passed through 3 stages already. Perhaps, this Xianxia may become the first beast tamer in our beast hall to pass the 10 beasts cage. Knowing that continuing on the prior topic would just embarrass him, Hall Master Xianxia chuckled awkwardly and changed the topic. There were people in the beast hall who challenged the 10 beasts cage before, but most of them couldn't even pass the 2nd stage. Yet, that lad was able to pass 3 stages as easily as though eating and drinking. Perhaps, he might be able to do the same for the 4th stage as well.
Indeed, Hall Master.
It seems like you'll have to prepare a set of spirit beast blood essence.
Grand Elder Wei Yuqing chuckled.
The reward for a successful challenge of the 10 beasts cage was a drop of spirit beast blood essence. Given how easily the other party passed the prior stages, it was likely that he would succeed in a single go. By then, the beast hall would have to present the prize to him.
He.
Hall Master Xianxia stroked his beard and chuckled. If a beast tamer can pass the 10 beasts cage, that can only mean that the talents in our beast hall are becoming more and more formidable. It's just a drop of spirit beast blood essence. It's nothing much. Not only will I present it to him, I'll also announce that if any other geniuses were to pass the 10 beasts cage, they'll be entitled to the same prize as well, and perhaps even more than that. For the past 1,000 years, there hadn't been a single person who had passed Shenyuan Kingdom Beast Hall's 10 beasts cage. There were also very few successful challengers in the other conferred Kingdom Beast Halls. With this record, he would be able to keep his head up high when meeting the other hall masters. On top of that, he could also motivate the other geniuses to work harder. This matter was beneficial to the Beast Hall.
Indeed.
Understanding this point, Grand Elder Wei Yuqing nodded. Just as he was about to continue speaking, his gaze suddenly turned grim. Look, he's about to challenge the final stage. At that moment, all of the spectators turned their crowd to the cage below. After rendering the 2 7 Meridians vicious bear helpless, Xianxia continued to proceed forward, and before long, he reached the final stage of the 10 beasts cage. Standing in front of him was Xizuan Realm primary stage. Steel-armed gold ape. Steel-armed gold ape has a physique similar to that of a human, and this grants them agility and dexterity comparable to that of a human. On top of that, they possess superior strength, making even the typical Xianxia Ream intermediate stage cultivators to not be a match for it. Xianxia is probably in for a difficult battle. Hall Master Feng and Beast Tamer Wang glanced at one another, and they saw the worry in each other's eyes. To be honest, they had a good impression of this Beast Tamer Zhong. Even though he was capable, he remained humble, unlike Luo Tang, who went around boasting despite knowing nothing at all. The first 3 stages, the Whirlwind Wolves, Tiger Head Beasts, and 7 Meridians Vicious Bears, were only skilled in a single aspect. It was still possible for Xianxia to exploit their flaws to achieve victory. But not only did this steel-armed gold ape possess a high cultivation, it was also an all-rounder. It had nearly no flaws that one could make use of. Battling a Xianxia Realm primary stage cultivator would be much less difficult than fighting against it. There's no need to think too much into it. Beast Tamer Zhong's strength has already surpassed our understanding. Maybe he might really be able to achieve victory. Hall Master Feng shook his head. A month ago, when he first met this Beast Tamer Zhong, the other party was only a Tongxian realm cultivator. But in the short span of a month, the other party had already reached Xianxia realm pinnacle, and his fighting prowess was even beyond that of the half Xianxia realm 7 Meridians Vicious Bear. His strength had already far surpassed them. They wouldn't be surprised if an expert of Zhongxian's level were to possess such aces up his sleeves. Under the worried gazes of the duo, Xianxia walked up to the steel-armed gold ape. The steel-armed ape had watched how Xianxia defeated the other savage beasts, and it could tell that even he was still young, he wasn't an easy opponent at all. Thus, without any hesitation, it immediately dashed forward without any warning to launch the first blow. Boom! As expected of a Xianxia realm primary stage savage beast, its might far exceeded that of the previous few savage beasts Xianxia faced. Before its fist could reach Xianxia, the shock wave from its punch had already ripped the air in the surroundings apart with sheer force. Powerful! Xianxia's face turned grim. He hurriedly faced it with a fist of his own. Pang! The 2 fists collided together, and both sides retreated several steps simultaneously. Xianxia was taken aback. He didn't think that the steel-armed ape would be able to stand toe-to-toe with his Heaven's Path Golden Body 2 Dan. Even though the previous savage beasts were famed for their fighting prowess, their true strength still paled far in comparison to Xianxia. Yet, the steel-armed ape was able to clash head-to-head with him, and this in itself proved testimony to its fearsome might. Hoo-hoo! That single blow seemed to have incited the steel-armed ape's excitement. With speed as swift as a bolt of lightning, it dashed toward Xianxia once more. Just as the depiction of the rumors, it possessed far superior reaction speed or agility to those of the same cultivation realm, leaving one helpless before it.
Bing, 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 bing.
Clashing several times, Xianxia was forced to retreat continuously. This isn't good. That fellow is extremely strong, and his defenses are hard to break as well. Even a momentary lapse in judgment could result in my loss, needless to say, defeating it. Xianxia frowned. In the end, Xianxia's Xianxia cultivation was still at Xianxia realm pinnacle. The only reason why he could face the other party was due to his powerful physical body. However, the difference between Xianxia to Xianxia didn't just lie in strength. Currently, Xianxia's reaction speed still couldn't match up to Xianxia realm expert. This made it difficult for him to keep up with the other party's movements. If the other party was only a small cultivation realm higher than him, he could still use the Eye of Insight to deduce his next movement. However, the steel-armed ape was 2 small cultivation realms above Xianxia, rendering the technique useless. Given that Xianxia couldn't predict its next movement, and he couldn't keep up with the other party's movements as well, with just his physical strength, it was indeed difficult for him to triumph over it. But of course, if this was a life-and-death battle, through using the Heaven's Path techniques, Xianxia could still kill the other party easily. Flaws. Knowing that it was difficult to defeat the other party barehanded, Xianxia immediately made up his mind. With a thought, a book appeared in the library of Heaven's Path. He quickly browsed through the contents of the book. So that's the case. After reading the contents, the edges of Xianxia's lips curled up. He might be strong, but it will be difficult for him to triumph over the steel-armed gold ape. Watching the battle, Grand Elder Wei Yuqing commented. As a Zhizuan realm pinnacle cultivator, he was able to gauge the flow of the battle accurately. It was clear that Zhong Xian was in a disadvantageous position. It isn't just difficult, it is impossible. To think that despite clearing the first 3 stages so smoothly, he will fall here. It's truly a pity. Hall Master Xie Jiuchen shook his head in lamentation. He was looking forward to the first successful challenger of the 10 Beasts cage here, but in the end, it seemed like his hopes wouldn't be realized.